Hello everyone, welcome to BuildingBloCS 2022, Day 2. This is the recorded stream recap of the second day's events, and you can find the specific timestamps of the various talks and workshops timestamped in the description below, or on the YouTube playhead. If you are looking for a specific workshop, you can also click on the playlist linked in the description below, where you can find workshops both from our pre-event as well as these 3 days extracted and uploaded in its own separate video. Without further ado, let's begin the day with a talk from Google. Do watch on to learn more.
Welcome back everyone for day 2 of the June conference. I hope you guys are very excited for today. Plus, today's event flow will roughly look somewhat... Oh, okay, never mind. Yes, the event flow can be found on the website, but in the event that it's not there, you can come and approach one of the organizers and we can inform you. So, without further ado, let's start the day with a talk from Google. So this talk is going to be presented by Stephen Kessler Yuono and Monica Manuela Henke.
Mr. Yuono is a software engineer and data scientist specializing in machine learning, neural networks, and natural language processing. He's passionate about any kind of software development and research in computing-related fields. Ms. Henke is a computer science student with strong work ethics, interested in adding values using technology and promoting diversity and inclusivity in tech. Let's welcome them to the stage.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. So yeah, let's start without further ado. Okay, cool. So let me introduce myself to begin. My name is Stephen Kessler Yuono, as you heard just now. So you can call me Stephen or Kessler or Yuono. People call me all sorts of names because Stephen is common and people make fun of my surname, which is you won't know. So yeah. I'm a software engineer in Google. I work on Files by Google. Basically, it's an Android app. It's a file manager Android app. So yeah, I'm working in Google Singapore, in the Google Singapore office, basically. So I'm here to share with you my journey, basically, like what I did from secondary school until today, basically, so that you get an idea of what my life looks like. This is a summary of my life, basically. So I studied in ACSI for my O-levels, ACS Independent, Dover Road, just there. And I went to St. Andrews Junior College after that. So I studied H2 computing there. That's the first time I studied programming because I was interested. So after that, because of that, I know that I'm interested. It confirms my interest. And then I studied computer science in NUS. Like this LT is very familiar. I sit there many times in that 4 years or even 5 years. So yeah. During my undergraduate stint, I did some internship. So the two most notable one is in Autodesk Singapore and in Microsoft in their headquarters in Redmond in the US. So yeah, I did those internships. And then I finished my bachelor degree. And then I immediately did my master's in NUS also. I did master's by research. So I do research in NLP and machine learning. ML is machine learning, NLP, natural language processing. So that was my interest at that time. So after I graduated from my master's, I started working as a software engineer in Google Singapore, basically, like now. I'm still working there, so yeah. So just to share, my first computer looks like this. Probably most of you have not seen this kind of computer before. So the screen is so huge. It's a CRT monitor. It's not even LCD. And then the CPU is huge. They put it under the monitor. It's not even a tower. So it looks like this. I got this when I was in primary 2, I guess, like around there. So it was very old. And the mouse is not even your laser mouse that you have right now. It's like it has a ball inside it. And the ball rolls to detect your movement of the mouse. Yeah, so that's history, basically. It's in a museum now, probably. So you might have seen it somewhere. So I use that computer mostly to play games, basically, as everyone does, right? You use your computer to play games, and your parents will nag you and stop playing games and that kind of thing. So this is an example, 2 examples of the games I used to play that I found interesting, but not anymore. Like, yeah, it's ugly, but it was fun at that time. So, okay, so this is basically my interest. I wanted to be a software engineer. I wanted to do something with computing. I want to develop software. But there are a lot of pushbacks. There were a lot of pushbacks. So my parents, my family members was like, why are you studying computing? Later you will be a technician, later you will be a tech support, blah, blah, blah. So they don't understand what is this. So I tried to explain to them, they still don't understand, but I'm glad that they let me do what I want. So I still studied computer science back then, although they don't like it. So, and after a while, after I graduate, even after here, now I'm working in Google, I don't think they still understand what I do. I think they still think I do tech support. So it's completely normal, and I know sometimes it's hard to actually like convey the message to your parents, so I understand. So don't worry about that. Like, it's completely normal if someone says that. So yeah. Cool. So I guess the journey to be a professional in tech or in computing or to study computer science is not easy, but I think it's for everyone. So basically, if you have the determination and the motivation to do it, I think everyone can do it. But of course, you have to be motivated, right? But again, it's not easy. I have to emphasize that. So sometimes you will feel like you have no idea what you are doing. So especially when you are coding, right? You will think that it's my code work, I don't know why. Or it's the other way also. Hey, why it doesn't work, I also don't know why. It's completely normal, and it's actually quite a fun feeling. Yeah, so this feeling, I don't think you get it somewhere else working in other industries, in my opinion. So it's just for programming. Okay, I'll give you some examples of snippets of programming. I'm not sure if you are familiar, or if you are not, then this is a best example. So basically, I have a very simple code snippet on the bottom left here. So it's trying to basically sum 1 to 6, just like the mathematical formula in the top left. So it's a summation from 1 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sum it all together. So you think this is very simple. I think this looks simple. I think by looking at this for another 30 seconds, even if you don't have a programming experience, you might be able to figure out what it's doing, basically. It's that simple. So this kind of for loop is only taught in the 5th lecture in a programming module in NUS. So what I'm trying to say is that if you are interested in programming or in other stuff, it's never too late, basically. Like, it's never too late to do something about it, to pursue what you want to do. So even if you have no programming background and you studied computer science in university, they will teach you from scratch. So the assumption for people who goes to university to study computing, it's with zero knowledge. You don't have any programming knowledge. So you will get all the knowledge necessary from the courses, basically. Yeah. Cool. So the next question, why computing or tech? So I want to share a little bit like why I think tech or computing industry is very interesting. So all of these are my personal opinion, so disclaimer, right? So personal opinion. So the first one, I would say that it's because of the rapid growth in digitalization and technology. So as you can see now, everything, technology is all around you. Like you see in front of me, all these computers, all this online streaming and whatever, everything is technology. If you see SGQR that's recently launched, previously 10 years ago, we don't have that. I use cash. But nowadays, I don't go to ATM to withdraw cash anymore because I just pay everything using my phone. So from day-to-day stuff, or to order food, like send money to your friends using GPay or some other app, or you order food, for example, right? Get it delivered to your house. Or even the most recent example of the trace together, like the token and the QR code scanning and stuff like that. Those are technology, basically. Like, you might not realize it, but those are examples of tech products. And you can go from the day-to-day products all the way to the most advanced products with AI, with all the fancy stuff. Like, for example, self-driving car, like something much more futuristic, and it might come in, I don't know, 20, 30 years, we don't know, basically. So who knows, in 30 years, you won't see someone driving a car anymore. So everything will be self-driving. So we will never know. So those are the forefront of the technology. So it ranges a lot. So I don't think the tech industry is going to slow down anytime soon. That's why I think it's exciting. So the next point is that I think by doing software or by doing a tech product, you have the potential to have a huge reach and hence the satisfaction from doing it. So I'll give you an example. I work on this app, Files by Google. So this file manager app is used by 150 million monthly active users. So whatever feature I do or whatever bug I make, it's going to be used by 150 million monthly active users. And that was one and a half year ago, I think. I think now we are at 300 million already. So I don't think it's easy or it's common for you to work in other industries developing a product that is used by hundreds and millions of users. So because software, it's easier to ship to all over the world in different devices, that's why you can have a larger reach basically. And then you feel satisfied, right? Because you impact everyone's life. So, yep. So the next reason I would say is that if you are interested in computing tech basically, but you don't like programming, like you really don't like the technical aspect of programming, or you think you really cannot make it, you try it, but I really cannot, it's not for you. So you will have other options in the industry itself. It's a huge opportunity from different multiple roles basically. So these are some examples, but it's a non-exhaustive list. So let me go through one by one. Let me describe a little bit more. Like for example, you can do the business side of things. You can do finance. You can do a lot of things. Every company needs someone that does business or does finance, right? So the second one might be someone that does like product development or product management. So decide on what feature to build and what's the next step, the strategy of the product or the company basically. And then the third one is basically me, software engineers. You do coding and development. You build the product itself. So that's the most common one, I would say, that you think someone works in computing, he or she is a software engineer. So yeah. And then the next one is a UI designer. So if you are someone that is more into arts or design, you can actually be a UI designer or UX designer. So as an engineer, I don't decide like what button to make or what screen to make, or I don't draw my own animation in the app. So those things are decided by the UI designer to make the app user-friendly, basically. So yeah, that's one of the possible roles. And then the last two is marketing and human resource is standard. So if you are interested in how do you do digital marketing and all those, it's also a choice. It's also a possibility. And nowadays, there are a lot more opportunities in data science or data analyst. So basically, from the product's data, you do something to it, you do machine learning or you do some analysis to basically predict something or to comes up with some insights to help your product grow, basically. So yeah. Okay, so this is what everyone likes, basically. The salary, yeah, ta-da. So from this website, you can see the median pay of a software engineer in Singapore is 140K. That's almost 12,000 a month. That's a lot of money, I'm telling you. So I didn't imagine that I will earn a lot of money when I was studying in NUS. I was super broke. I eat chicken rice every day. So now it's more comfortable, I would say. So yeah. So this is the median, of course. You don't expect like when you graduate from university, you get the median pay, but it depends on the company. So these are just some statistics. Please don't put your eyes on it, but then you can expect something like this when you work in the tech industry. This is also kind of true if you are working in a non-engineering, let's say you work in a tech company, but you are a product manager or some other roles. I think the salary is quite high as well. So it's not just for software engineers, it's for all the roles I mentioned earlier. So yeah. Last but not least is the perks. Usually tech companies has a lot of perks. So a bit of promotion, but also a bit of overview, like what we have in our office. We have a lot of free food in Google Office, basically, all over the world. So I'm going to give you a virtual tour of the office. So usually people are interested to see what the office looks like, because I think this office is crazy. It's like better than hotel, I would say. So I will show you later. You'll know what I mean. Okay, so this is a Lego brick wall, like next to the lobby of the office. So basically, if you enter the office or if you are working and you feel bored, you can just play Lego whenever you want and just mess up the Lego wall, basically. Yeah, so we have this huge screen next to the lobby as well. So basically, if you enter the office, you turn right a little bit, you'll see this huge screen. It's used to showcase all our products and achievements and people and stuff like that. So it will look something like this. We have an arcade and pool room, so you can play pool or you can play Bishibashi, the basketball arcade. Yeah, we have a few of those. We have game room, which is a PS4. So PS4 I know now is PS5 era, but yeah, that was before COVID. It was closed during COVID. So board games cafe. So there are this rack of board games that you can just play whatever board games you want, pull your friends and just sit there and play. So we have that. And we have a full music room with all the instruments. So if you are into music, you can actually drop there and play whenever you want to do it. So, but I've never played there actually. I work too hard. Sad. But anyway, this is the bouldering wall. Okay, can you imagine you have a bouldering wall inside the office? I think this is unnecessary, but they have it, so whatever. Yeah, anyway, we have a bouldering wall in the office, so it's crazy. And then we have a maker space. It's like a lab for you that has like 3D printers and laser cutter and stuff to do all your sculptures and artsy stuff. Yeah, so they have napping pods. If you are tired, you can just go there and sleep. But it's closed because of COVID. So this is like all before COVID. So if you are tired, you just go there and sleep, basically. So it's very convenient. See, you don't need to go home, right? It's like a hotel. You can stay in the office. And we have massage. So the massage is not free, but it's heavily subsidized. So it's actually much cheaper than if you have it outside. So in the office, yeah, imagine where do you have massage in the office, right? Gym. We have this gym inside the office, I'm telling you. So I don't think this is an office. This is like a hotel, seriously. Look at this gym. It's huge. Like most of the hotel I've been to, the gym are not even half of this, I'm telling you. They have showers inside, they have towels inside. So it's like you have a gym membership for free. You can just go to office just to go gym and then go home, work from home. Yeah, so I'm just joking. As in, I don't do that, but that's exaggerating, but you get what I'm trying to say. So now the food. This is the cafe, right? This is the cafe and it's huge. So basically these are the sitting area where you could take your food and sit. And the food is really crazy. I would say it's better than most of the hotel I've been to. So it's buffet style, you can take whatever you want. And there are a lot of stations. So like for example, for breakfast, there are all the pastry section, there are fruits, there are salads, there are everything. And they have a chef waiting there for you to make omelette for you. Like, what omelette you want? No onions, no cheese, whatever. They cook for you. Like, yeah. And then for lunch, right, they have different food stations. Like, you have the Indian station, you have a Western station, you have a salad station, you have a fruit station, you have a fruit juicer where you put your fruits and you juice it. Yeah, they have ice cream. Crazy, yeah. They have a lot of like fancy menu where they change every day. So, yeah, crazy. They have their own barista in the office. Barista is in really coffee bar. Like you go to Starbucks, hey, I want a latte, I want a cappuccino with soy milk, that kind of thing. Just order it, just say whatever you want, they will make for you. Like on the spot, free, everything is free, other than the massage. So the micro kitchens are basically your pantries with the food and fruits and whatever and drinks. And that's available in every corner of the office. So if you are in certain level, at this corner you have one, and another corner you have one. So you will never be able to run out of food, basically. So you walk a little bit, you will see another pantry, you can take anything you want. So whenever I go to office, basically I don't work, I keep running around and going here and there and play stuff and then eat food, yeah, and you grow fat after that. So that's the standard stuff happening to all the new Googlers usually. Yeah, so we have a burger bar, so you have a burger that looks like this, like a restaurant grade burger that you can take or enjoy every day also if you want to. But no, I don't do that. So after a while, you eat too many burgers, you don't feel like eating burgers. So yeah, so and all these snacks. So the joke we usually do is that, why do you go to gym? Because you want to eat more of this in the office. So yep, that's all I have for you today. So thank you for listening, and I'll be here if you want to ask me any questions for a while. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Essentially, Mr. Steven said he's from SHAC, right?
Yes.
Sadly, SAGC don't offer A-level computing anymore.
No, so sad.
Yeah, trying to get them to start. Yeah. So, but anyway, Miss Monica was from ACJC. Yeah. So I think we have quite a number of ACJC students here, right? Yeah. So please feel free to ask them any questions. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone? Just raise your hand, I'll bring the mic to you.
That's why I went to SC. Yeah. No, AC don't have last time. Yeah, only a few SK.
AC started offering after I graduated.
What are the requirements to get Google?
The requirements. You have a degree that is engineering degree or computing related, usually, or engineering related. But oh wait, let me ask you a question. Do you mean software engineer or other roles? Google is huge. So I assume software engineer, right? Yes. So once you have your qualifications, your degree, basically, you apply, and then you will just get an interview if you are shortlisted. And you just do well in the interview, that's it. And then they won't, yeah, there is no other requirements, basically. Like pass the interview when you get the interview. Unless you have something else. Yeah. My suggestion is apply for internships when you are in university. They help a lot. Yeah.
Anything for high school students?
Anything for high school students? Like, yeah, what kind of things I can advise, right? So yeah, if you're interested in computing, yeah, don't worry if you are even not studying H2 computing now. So of course, it's good that you have some background, but don't worry. Like what I said, they teach you from scratch to study programming in university. So yeah, feel free to pursue what you want in life, be it computing or not computing. So yeah. Okay, no other questions?
Any questions? Please raise your hand.
If you are shy, you can ask us offline. We will sit here for a while. We will sit here for a while or outside or whatever. You can come to us and ask us questions, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
Alright guys, that was very interesting and thank you to the Google speakers. Next up we have an AI researcher Vishal Anand with us. He is currently a machine learning research student at NUS School of Computing, looking into graph deep learning, self-supervised learning, and reinforcement learning. He's also a technical writer on artificial intelligence and an open source contributor. He has given talks at workshops and conferences and meetups before. Now, let's hear what he has prepared for us today.
Okay, can you guys give me a thumbs up from your end if you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right, awesome. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Rishabh. You can call me Rish. I am a Year 3 student at NUS. Thank you so much to Mr. Gee and the Building Blocks team for having me today. In fact, I was from Building Blocks in 2018 and 2019 when I was in JC. It's been a wild ride so far, and I can't wait to share it with you. Excuse me. So today, Mr. Gee has called me to talk about the life of an AI researcher. And sure, I can go on and on about it, but we're going to do this in a more conversational style. I'll present some stuff first, but then after that, we're going to have an AMA session. And then Mr. Gee is going to be asking some questions. You folks can ask me some questions, and let's see where we can take this. But yeah, let's get started. So my name is Rish. I'm from the Department of Computer Science at NUS. Just a rough thing. I do this thing called graph deep learning, and graphs are this computer science terminology, which basically refers to networks. And networks can be something like social media, proteins, all sorts of situations where things are connected to each other, and we study their relationships. You can use this thing called a graph to represent it. And if you do machine learning on top of that, boom, you get graph deep learning. Aside from that, I teach at NUS. I teach some of the introductory CS courses, so the machine learning courses at NUS Computing, more specifically CS 2109S and CS 3244. In fact, if some of you folks are coming to NUS further down the line, you might have to take CS 2109S, the Introduction to AI and Machine Learning course, which has been made compulsory for all undergrads. Before this, I was doing machine learning at places like A-Star, Grab, Singtel, a whole bunch of miscellaneous places. And now I'm based out of the University of Waterloo in Canada, where I'm also doing some really funky graph deep learning stuff. Yeah, I'm an open source contributor. I love GitHub. I love building software and tools around machine learning. And so far I have about, I guess, 8 Python libraries for anybody to download worldwide. And it's received close to 100,000 downloads, ever since I got started. And I love blogging. I maintain a few blogs. So I'm a technical writer on machine learning and technology in general. And yeah, for those interested, previously I was from National Junior College, amazing school. So for all of you secondary school students out there, if you were to consider something cool, that's the place to be. So yes, and of course, the most important fact, I met Mr. Gee in 2018, and that's how all this got started. So yeah, this is like a rough timeline. I started JC and NJC in around 2018, 2019. At the time, I was also doing an attachment at A-Star. This attachment was given through the school. We have a very, very prestigious research program. So for all those of you who want to play around with research, do join us at NJC, where you get a very nice glimpse of what research is like. Aside from that, I try to do a startup called MLBlocks. It was this thing where you don't need to know how to code machine learning stuff. If you have data, that's all we need, and we can build a model for you right on the cloud for you to use anywhere. And that went pretty well. We got $10,000 from NTU and did a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. Aside from that, I graduated A-levels over here and inbound in NUS Computing further down the line. But I was doing a bit of machine learning at A-Star. So, and here's the fun thing. When you do research, you get to work at the cutting edge of the field, whatever field you're interested in. Over here in 2018 to 2019, there was a 17-year-old kid, literally working on the influenza virus, right? Doing a lot of machine learning and bioinformatics around the influenza virus and trying to find what are the ways to kill something like that. What are ways to build drugs that try to kill something like that? So yeah, when you're in research, you get to be at the forefront of technology, and you are at the unique position to really contribute back to humanity. And 2020, that was when the world was on fire. That was when COVID started really getting spiced up, especially in Singapore, started going online everywhere. So I had the very rare opportunity to be part of the COVID-19 task force at A-Star in 2020. So in fact, one of my favorite anecdotes or memories is on my first day, I'm just setting up, I don't even have a monitor in front of me. And out comes my supervisor, hands me his phone and says, hey, look, this guy is from Germany. Talk to him and ask him for what data you want, right? So research puts you in a position to talk to some really, really cool people. And it's interesting because you learn a lot about what they do, their perspectives, their approaches to problem solving. So that's really interesting. So in fact, there was a time when I'm just fooling around on my computer, writing some code and experiments. And on the other screen, literally confidential COVID-19 data, like the world does not have access to this, but some 18-year-old kid did, right? So research, again, amazing experience. And through this talk, hopefully I can sell that research dream to some of you. So then I started in 2020, late 2020, August, I started my year 1 at NUS, Computer Science and Math. And at the same time, I was working at the Singtel cybersecurity lab doing machine learning for them, bit of malware detection, really interesting project. Then I moved on to my year 2. And for the year 2 summer, I was at Grab. And at Grab, I was working on some facial features detection and a whole bunch of other interesting things that would further go on to be put on the mobile device in the mobile app. So that was super cool. And finally, right now, I'm in incoming year 3 at the kind of late August period. And right now I'm at the University of Waterloo doing some really nice research on graph deep learning. And, if all things go well, I might be back at A-Star doing some really nice machine learning, 2023, but that's for the future to tell. And yes, of course, this. So why machine learning? I mean, there's so many areas within computer science, and I'm sure most of you have heard some of the areas like networking, databases, cybersecurity, a whole bunch of fun stuff. But machine learning is very new up and coming niche, especially in Singapore. So if you want to kind of get in on that action, you want to do that early, right? Because it's ripe for the picking, especially in Singapore, where a lot of money is going into this area. And in the previous talk, Stephen mentioned the kind of money you can make or the kind of livelihood that you can live. And that's really a testament to the kind of funding available for machine learning and machine learning research specifically. So that's definitely something that you should explore if you have the means to. So yeah, personally, why machine learning of all the other fields? I grew up watching Iron Man. I was a huge fan. In fact, in my wardrobe right now, there are like a few Iron Man t-shirts that don't fit me anymore. And the whole concept of Jarvis was really fascinating to me. Something that is a machine talking to Tony Stark and helping him with whatever he needs and being that robotic butler of sorts. That was such a cool concept. And for a kid of single digit age, this came out in 2007. I was 6 years old. That was a whole crazy concept. So, and nowadays machines are everywhere. You hold these devices in your pocket, you put them in your ears to listen to stuff. You walk around and, around you, there is some machinery, some technology running. And now the question is, now that we have the means and the data and the different models and algorithms, why not make them intelligent, right? If it solves a very big problem in a faster way than brute forcing it, there's definitely some value that you can reap by using AI in these different machines. And in fact, the Internet of Things, the IoT revolution kind of banked on the fact that technologies like AI would be the next big thing. And aside from that, when you do research, sure, you might be a bit short-sighted in that you are immediately looking at, okay, I have a bunch of experiments and I have a bunch of results. What are the insights I can draw from it? If you look at the long term, you realize that machine learning research is what is powering literally every big piece of technology on the planet today. What was initially a research project goes on to become a very profitable product, a very useful and convenient product. In fact, Google Translate, back in the day, it used to be very rule-based. And then, we realized that languages aren't based on rules because each language has its own grammar and syntax and semantics that make it unique. And which is why Google then brought in machine learning, a whole bunch of natural language processing magic to make Google Translate something very usable anywhere on the planet. In fact, Google search, about a few years ago, Google search from the traditional search algorithm, they moved to a machine learning based model, natural language processing based model. And the kind of queries or the search queries that it's able to pick up and give results to, that's just phenomenal. So the power of machine learning research is not in the research itself, it's in the applications or the applicability of the research in and of itself. And I think that's really cool. And yeah, why research, right? Yeah. There is the industry side of things where you use machine learning to solve industry problems. So companies like Indeed.com, LinkedIn, Twitter, they have a whole bunch of machine learning models kind of working under the hood to give you your next YouTube video recommendation or something like that. Sure, that is more on the application side, but the true magic occurs when you're looking at it purely as from a research standpoint, purely as a problem to solve. And when you're going about solving it, you're literally creating raw knowledge that never existed before. You're running experiments that never were conducted before. And in fact, research allows you to be the first man ever for anything, just like Armstrong was the first man on the moon. When you're doing research, more often than not, on an interesting, very niche topic, you are the first person ever touching something like that. So it puts a lot of power and a bit of personal pride to kind of get that project across and see it through to success. And the ability to contribute to humanity. What now is a fairly simple research project could be the next big product that one of these big companies use, or you can spin off your own startup based on your research idea being highly applicable to society and your general community around you. I guess the most interesting aspect of research is just just sitting down on a chair and just thinking, right? You're just being paid to think and code, but mostly think. You're juggling a whole bunch of complex ideas in your head, a whole bunch of really interesting niche concepts, and it's like playing with Lego, except Lego, the bricks, they represent ideas. You try to put things together, you try to take them apart, you try to decompose something into smaller portions, or you try to put something together to see it as part of the bigger picture. It's a whole bunch of playing with Lego when you're trying to solve a very interesting problem and you're just sitting on the chair behind a computer screen trying to get that outcome or achieve that outcome. And a kind of side effect, or a very big side effect of AI research, is that you become very, very, very obsessed with these kind of things. Even in your sleep, sometimes you get these ideas and you wake up, you're like, yo, I really need to try this right now. Or you think of ideas that haven't been thought of before. So it allows you to be novel. The other fields in computer science, sure, you can make an impact there. But the rate at which those fields are going, most of the interesting stuff has already been done. Sure, you can do research there, but when it comes to AI, every single new thing that you introduce, there's a high chance that it's novel and it's something that's never been done before. And that's primarily because the field is very new, it's very nascent, very young. So it gives us students like you and I a very unique ability to contribute and actually have the adults, the big people say, hey, this is meaningful to me. And of course, as with any computer science field, you get to think about the long-term goals and aspirations, both about what you want to do and about where I see myself N years down the line, or more of what are the problems that I want to solve that are present today, but won't be tomorrow because, hey, I'm here, I'm going to solve it. And with that, it begs the question, what exactly is the day in the life of an AI research student? What do I do to get my pay at the end of the month? And here's something, compared to other fields like software engineering and a whole bunch of other CS fields, research is very, very, very flexible in terms of your timings. And it really banks on the fact that not everybody is at their peak performance 24/7, right? Or even during the day from your regular 9 to 5 or whatever. So only when times you're feeling energized or you feel like you have the ability to code up an experiment or something, that's when you can get to work. So it's very OT, own time, own target. And it really allows you to do whatever you feel like doing as long as it fits within the project scope, as long as it's helping you answer some questions that need answering. So if I kind of document the day, I wake up, freshen up, and this is usually already at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And then I catch up with the latest research from the community, either through online websites like this thing called Archive, ARXIV, where it gives you the new daily feed of the latest and greatest machine learning research. And definitely there's also a whole bunch of social media like Twitter that really gets you up to date with what's happening around you. And after that, once I'm done, being a DGen online, finally I get to some real work. I plan some experiments and I plan to, talk about the outcomes, the expected outcomes, and the objectives of my experiments. And when that is set, I can finally write code for it. And in fact, this was my desk setup at A-Star. Had a really big monitor and a whole bunch of papers over here, just drawing stuff. When you're doing research, it's a whole bunch of visual mind games in a way. You get to draw stuff on a whiteboard. In fact, whiteboarding is a very cool experience for us researchers because it makes you feel like a kid. When we were growing up, we'd love to draw stuff on the whiteboard. Now you're just doing it and, well, you get paid for it. So same exact concept where, you're doing your experiments, you're writing your code. In fact, this thing on the left where my cursor is, that's all confidential COVID-19 data. You can't really see it, so I probably won't get sued, but you get the whole point. I'm doing my experiments here and data over here. So it really allows you to be in touch with the latest and greatest, the cutting edge of where humanity stands today. And a whole bunch of drawings. And of course, with the money you get, you can buy your bubble tea. But the most important part about research is not in the work you do, it's in the people you meet. You meet some very, very fascinating people on the daily. Literally on my first day, my supervisor comes in, hands me a phone, and I'm talking to someone close to 50,000 miles away in Germany, or maybe in Shanghai. And these people help you achieve these objectives. It's like a whole team sport where each of you need to give your individual contributions, but it's all in mind of the bigger picture, the big objective, the problem that we're trying to solve. And that's the value of research to me. It's the ability to meet some amazing, cool people, the cool kids in research who are on the cutting edge of research, and they are contributing some massive, interesting stuff to humanity and its knowledge base. So with that, I want to kind of bring it to the AMA segment. Now that you kind of know what a day in the life of a researcher is, I'd love to hear your questions. Mr. Gee, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for the students. Thank you.
Thanks. Actually, BuildingBlock is a students event, so we really want questions for the students, but maybe most students are usually shy, so I'll start with the first question, right? So from a high school student point of view, if high school students are interested in research, how can they get started? What are some of the resources and links that you would recommend? Apart from, of course, Google, right?
So in terms of resources, so before you get into research, you need to be, I guess, good at understanding what exactly is going on. So with that, you should really understand the prerequisites and the foundational stuff. You need to understand the terminology, the excessive use of jargon, so that when you're in a conversation with someone and someone mentions a very fancy term like latent encoding or something fancy like that, you need to kind of understand what they're referring to. Otherwise, it's going to become very difficult very, very fast. So knowing the fundamentals is very important to be able to do research in it, because if you really know something, you'll be able to decompose and break it down. So in terms of resources, instead of giving you resources to get into research, I'd love to give you some resources in getting in touch with machine learning and whatnot. In fact, I've had many of these questions come up. And before you even touch anything machine learning related, you need to really love your CS and math, right? So in fact, I really wouldn't recommend anybody starting out machine learning research fully. This is something that I wish someone told me back when I was doing it. I really wouldn't suggest doing something, when you're really young in secondary school or in JC, because you don't have the fundamentals yet. Sure, you can teach yourself, but the kind of structure and rigor that a university gives you, that is invaluable. And now that I'm teaching some of these courses at NUS, I'm slowly realizing that, hey, if people want to get into machine learning, it'll be great if they do that when they enter university. because there's a certain organization in terms of the concepts and the knowledge that you learn. And once you have that, you can learn machine learning in a very structured way, and you can connect the dots on your own. And there's a very nice timeline or progression that you take when you learn concept after concept. Usually when you self-teach yourselves, it's all over the place. Sure, you can go after some online curriculum, but it gets very daunting because you feel very alone. You get very intimidated by certain things because there's no person in your immediate vicinity to clarify these questions. But if you did machine learning or started machine learning at the university level, you have your friends around you taking the same classes, you have your TA, you have your professor. So it's a very guided way of learning. So yeah, for all of you, those of you who want to get into something like research within machine learning, I'd suggest first doing the machine learning stuff, learning the theory and the fundamentals. And when to do that in university. That's the best place to be when you're learning anything new. So I hope that clarifies. I know that's kind of not the answer some of you expected, because you might find it really exciting and you want to get into it now. But in hindsight, if you really want to be good at it, structure and organization are very important. And I feel like university gives that to you. So yeah, I hope that clarifies.
Thanks so much. Any students, any questions? Still shy? Organizers? Okay.
Okay, so I had a question. I understand that you have looked into graph deep learning, which is a really novel research field compared to research with ResNets, with stuff like that, with RNNs, with more of those kind of fields. So do you feel like going into novel research is something that's crucial for any form of research work, or is it fine to go with existing models and research into them further as in applying them to new situations? Like which of them would feel like something that you would prefer?
So here's the thing. It's always, in general, with anything, right? It's always cooler to work with new stuff. I mean, inherently, because it's new, it's novel, and the human brain has this thing called a novelty bias. So whenever something is new, it suddenly starts feeling very excited. So it gets you excited about that. But when you have to go back to the old stuff, it tends to get a bit boring because oh, okay, it's not used anymore, but why do I still learn this? The thing about these old models or these traditional approaches that people use, like statistics and stuff like that, we call them fundamentals for a reason. It's because everything, all of the cool stuff, the funky cool stuff, they are built on top of this old stuff, right? So if you want to be able to understand the new, you got to be able to understand the old. And I mean, it's true with anything, right? I mean, what if I immediately threw you into a calculus lecture, but then, there you are not knowing how to add? It seems kind of far-fetched. Of course, it's an analogy, but it's the same thing, right? If you want to be on the cutting edge, you need to be very acquainted, be very comfortable working with the existing stuff. So yeah, for all those of you who are interested in something like this, I would really suggest diving deep into the most preliminary, the most basic knowledge possible, that's possible to be gained from something like this before immediately hitting the cool stuff. Because when you do that, you find yourself stuck very, very, very often, and it gets very frustrating, intimidating, annoying, and kind of sad because you're not able to understand, and there's a whole lot of self-pity where I don't think I'm built for this. Everybody is built for most things, and it all boils down to whether you have your fundamentals and the basic knowledge, the prerequisites required to thrive in the field. So hope that answers that.
Okay, thanks. Any more questions? Okay, actually, when Mr. Rishabh, or rather when I reached out to Mr. Rishabh to give a talk, he immediately said yes, and in fact, he wanted to join us on site today, but it turns out that he actually has some work commitments, and he just realized that he also have a meeting right after this, right? So we probably can take in one last question, but before he rushes off for a meeting. Anyone? Okay, if not, I'll ask one last question, right? So the students here are actually working on a hackathon on this topic, how to use technology, example AI, to improve the lives of students and teachers in schools, right? So from your experience, do you have any advice or tips for them? Yeah.
So here's the thing: when this kind of question, you can abstract it to a higher level on how do you brainstorm ideas, because I love hackathons. Hackathons are like my thing, and usually my winning ideas, they're something that you organically land on. You naturally land on them because you personally face them. In fact, the best products are the ones where the creator or the founder themselves faced that problem and built it to solve that problem for them. And then they realize that this problem exists for so many other people. And then, they hand it out, and that's how they get started. So here's the thing, you need to be very organic when it comes to this. You can't force fit a problem to a solution. You can't force fit a solution to an existing problem. They need to go hand in hand, and usually it's the problem first and then the solution. So then you need to really realize what exactly makes a problem a problem. Is it causing some kind of inconvenience? Is it causing some kind of upsetting or about how you feel or how you do certain actions within the school ecosystem, since that's the theme of the hackathon. And once you realize that, you're then able to better brainstorm ideas on how to tackle each of these issues you yourself face, or someone in your community, school community faces. So yeah, just be very organic in the process, land on them naturally, the solutions, land on the problems naturally, and that should ensure that you're able to sell your idea, sell your project or your product to an audience, a technical audience, or even a general purpose audience, and they will understand the problem. Because it's so personal to you, you will find words to convey that that annoyance to the audience. They'll understand, and then they'll see the real purpose, the real applicability of your solution. So I know it's a bit abstract because I'm not fully sure about the kinds of projects you're working on. But for those of you who aren't, who haven't really got that banger of an idea, this would be that approach. Just brainstorm. Just think about problems you faced, and then if it really bothers you, build something for that. Because there's no point building something where the problem doesn't affect you, because then it just makes the entire thing impersonal, and you won't be able to sell it to anybody because you don't really know how it feels to be someone facing that problem. So yeah, that would be the advice I would give.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, nice having you. We hope to see you around. Actually, Mr. Rishabh is currently studying in NUS School of Computing. So in fact, he stays just next to another student, computing student, Mr. Chen Yang, who is also the BuildingBloCS OIC about 2 years ago. Right?
He's my neighbor. He's my neighbor.
Oh, okay, yeah. He should still be around, especially for those JC students, maybe females, right? So if you pop by, he just try to say hi and check everything about AI research. Okay, thanks, and
right.
see you around.
Thank you, Mr. Geek, and good luck for the team conducting this, and good luck for all the students in the hackathon. Hope to see you around.
Any more questions for Mr. Steven or Miss Monica? Yeah, they are also quite busy, right? I'm not sure it's the office.
Thank you for Rishabh and the rest of the talk. Thanks also for the advice. So now that the first two talks are done for today, we'll give you guys some time to work on your projects with your group mates until 12. So please feel free to seek consultation if you have any questions or issues.
And this is your last chance to reach out to the speakers in front and online as well. Any questions? Please reach out to them now.
Alright, welcome back from lunch. Give us a moment. For our friends online, just give us a moment while everyone settles down. Yeah. Oh. On.
Off, bro.
Yusen, raise your hand. Where's Yusen? Yusen is over there and he has 4 members. Well, I see a bacteria bread 2. The real Sep 012. Ready? I'll be starting in around 20 seconds. Online people.
No, the mic was off just now.
Oh, mic was off.
Yeah.
Everyone join the
You
Kahoot.
never check mic. Walao.
My bad. Everyone join the Kahoot. Game pin 4333455. Akash has joined.
Another 20 seconds.
Another 20 seconds. Right hand grip is back. Okay, so I'll be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2. Alright, this is the Kahoot. GG. Guess who's the first one? I think we saw it already anyways. Yeah, you didn't see? Alright. I wonder who's the first person. Who is this? So try and figure out who this person is. Who is it? Come on, this one's an easy one. It tests on which of who of you whose reflexes is faster. Is it Rayan, Nigel, Tristan, or me? Me!
It's clearly you.
Is that?
It's clearly you.
It's clearly me, man. 9 people voted me, 7 people voted Tristan, 5 people voted Nigel. Oh well. So showing back the picture, this is Ray Yang, and to give a bit of context, this was.
So this was taken one of the last. Okay, not the last. There was a BuildingBloCS barbecue back in 2019 before COVID, and this was taken after I have jumped into a swimming pool. That's why my hair is spiky. Yeah.
Okay, so this is Rayan. Let's see who's on the leaderboard. Rayan is first, followed by right hand grip and Yusen. The actual one? Is it the actual Yusen? Yes, no? No? It's not the actual Yusen? What a scam. Moving on, question 2. Who loves sashimi but hates wasabi? There are 4 pictures right here, all of them which are unglammed. Try and identify who they are. They are your organizers, they are your facilities who have been here for the last couple of days. Who is it? Who is it? 7 seconds, quickly, dump in your answers. Last few people, let's go. The correct answer is Celine. Celine is on the bottom right. Celine is our MC/design QA team. Celine, I'm gonna judge you. Why do you hate wasabi? Wasabi gives you the kick, huh? You were the one who submitted it. You what? You like salmon? No, I copied it. I copied it directly from your text. Whatever. Whatever. Top right is Elston. Okay, Elston's been floating around for the past few days. Where's Elston? Elston's not here. Top left is Yu Xiang, who has been helping us with admin. A fun fact about him is that he witnessed 5 schoolmates bury a beetle alive during school camp. Bury a beetle alive. Okay, sure, whatever. You are? That's not a photo. What the? Well, whatever. Anyway. Whatever. I fixed this up at 3 a.m. last night, don't worry. Last one, bottom left, is Abigail. So another MC of us, and apparently she's super tall, apparently. Abigail. Alright, next. Let's go. Familiar picture? This one is a very... Is it Seth? Or is it Pranay? Or is it Rayang? Or is it Mr. Gee? Is Mr. Gee in the room? 3 seconds, quickly. Okay, the real answer is, it's Mr. Gee! Oh, where's from Diamond High? We actually know. Mr. Gee is actually our teacher in charge lah. So he's the one who set up. I think a lot of people can tell that I guess that is pretty relevant to this meme. Anyway, so Mr. Gee is the one who set up Building Blocks, and he's the one that allows us to be here today. I think he's the one who catered all the food and everything. So if you all see him, please thank him. This picture, right? This meme, right? He likes to use it a lot. So no matter what we do or what we send him, right? Mr. Gee will kind of, is Mr. Gee there? Hi, Mr. Gee. Everyone say thank you, Mr. Gee. So yeah, without Mr. Gee, we'll be kind of lost today. Anyways, so Mr. Gee's favorite quote is, "Life is hard, why not make it harder?" Life is hard, why not make it harder? I fully agree. Whenever Mr. Gee sends us this pic, right, it means a few meanings. It either means okay, it either means, I don't know, you might have screwed up, or it either means good job. So I guess this is just a meme that he likes to use a lot. Moving on. Rayan is to the top. I have no idea. Oh no, he dropped. Right hand grip is not the top. Right hand grip rule, is it? Okay, 4th slide. Who used to do Taekwondo? And these are 4 pictures. You have to pick the person. Make a guess. No prizes. Prizes is my love for you. The correct answer is... In 1 second. The correct answer is Vincent at the bottom left. Group 789, shout out. Hello. Where's group 789? Okay, group 789. Vincent was in Pursuit yesterday. Vincent's not here today, I think. Anyways, then for the rest of people, that's Elston once again. That is Nigel. Nigel at the top right, he's one of our online pursuits. And he's allergic to grass apparently. Bottom right is Jia Xuan. Jia Xuan doesn't like eating tuna. So I guess just now, I don't know whether I got Celine's one correct, but we probably have someone who enjoys sashimi and someone who hates tuna. One kind of sashimi. For Nigel, not easy for him lah. Singapore, a lot of grass. Moving on. Mingji Rian, Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan is somewhere at the top. I see Seth Cho. Who is Seth Cho? About this guy, 3 truths, 1 lie, spot the lie. Who is that? Good question. Might not be a Vasil. Looking hot there, quite hot in the picture. Alright, this person is Yap Jin Ho from Group 8. Everyone say hi, Jin Ho. That was kind of fall out. Anyways, Jin Ho was actually our 2021 Building Blocks MC, and he was a pretty cool MC. I think one best way to show his legacy is to screen his jokes on site from last year. So,
Anyway, that was one, and I guess,
Now I shall try to explain the points breakdown, even though the only breakdown that I've tried to explain was emotional, and that didn't go well. So anyway, we have done. Anyway, thank you so much to the speakers for a wonderful workshop today. So thanks for creating the program that can help us recognize our face and everything. So now,
he made
with that
not
program,
only
I can
2
finally
jokes, he
say
probably
that I
made
have a
like,
friend.
I don't know, 7 jokes last year.
No,
This
I
is
do
why
not
you
want
should
to be your
subscribe to our
friend.
YouTube channel, and if
You
you
are a
go back to
terrible
the stream
person and
playback,
nobody
you will
likes you.
see that there are time links to Getting Rickrolled, and Getting Rickrolled. All those are Jin Hong's jokes, so go and check them out. There's another joke that I didn't show, which I find is more funny, but yeah. You want one more? Jin Hong, one more. This one is really good. Oh no, it's loading. I didn't read.
We shall move on to the next section.
Okay, so you guys will be having your next workshop of the day, which is Dino AI.
I think commitment to Gino, he actually jumped off the chair for this.
It's on the slide.
Yeah, amazing MC.
Oh,
so
just the words.
Everyone go and say hi to Gino later. And this is him in the picture. Quite hot. 2 truths, 3 truths, 1 lie. I guess he is 1.79 tall, just that he denies he's cool and handsome. But I find him cool and handsome. Hey. Okay, moving on. Who is on the leaderboard? Yang Chuan is on the leaderboard. Nice one, Yang Chuan. Nice one. Who is this? Another one of our organizers. Who does it look like? Any of the facilities? Anyone around that you recognize? 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7. The person is Zilu. Zilu is from our design com. Zilu, wait, hi. So that's Zilu right there. And Zilu, I guess a fun fact, I asked him to send a fun fact. He said, and at the time that he was sending a fun fact, he said, I was trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. Blinded. What do you... Huh? Yeah, he was trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. He also brought a Rubik's Cube here today. So if you all want to talk about Rubik's Cube, talk to him. Is Yang Chuan still top? Yang Chuan is dropped. Seth is now the top. Seth 12. Moving on. Multi-select. Select more than one option. Pick all the MCs here. It's the same photo. Yes. Not sure what is your photo, but I don't know. Hey, wait, I realized it's the wrong study. Oops. No wonder. Sorry. Sorry. My apologies. I screwed up. Badly screwed up. Okay, anyways. The other study okay, there's actually, the thing why I guess I messed up a lot is because there are 2 Celines. One Celine is there. Celine, say hi. Hi, that is one of the Celines, Celine Wong, right? Celine Wong, who is conducting a Python workshop and has been our group facilitator. This one is Celine Natalie. So this one is Design and QA. You will see her streaming the Instagram throughout these few days. So wrong Celine, but yeah, sorry, my bad. Anyways, so let's just continue on. Yellow Badger 42 is now up. Seth is now up. So anyways, we have three MCs, right? So it's Abigail, Celine, Natalie, and Seth, who are our 3 MCs. Next question. This is Rayan. Nice photo. Quickly fill up, you have 4 seconds left. Alright, the lie is that he loves eating cheese. So I guess since the top 2 are, truths, he can't eat snacks and he doesn't want to eat cheese. I guess he's quite a sad person. Anyways, only 18 people got it right. Let's see who's on the leaderboard. JH is actually no. Yes, it's Junhong. Junhong is up on the leaderboard. And Seth is still leading. Can anybody beat Seth? Next question. Which of these are our group pursuits? Select more than one. Can't see. This is the biggest I can make it. 10 seconds. They all look like they're on drugs. Alright, yes, they're high. Our group pursuits are all high. Bottom left, I mentioned just now, Yu Xiang, one of our people in the admin, he's really responsive. So thank you, Yu Xiang, if you're online. I don't think he's online. Anyways, left side is Ling Song. Ling Song. Right side is Aike. So these two are our group pursuits for groups 1, 2, 3, and 4 for yesterday. Okay? I guess fun fact about Ling Song is that he once threw away his assessment book, so his parents can't assign him work. And my man Aike plays 2.6. Anybody get it? He plays 2.6.
Let them into a Zoom meeting.
Huh?
How do you let them into a Zoom meeting?
You want to make me first? 2.6. You're not inside. Hop cycle. You want to play with him later, yeah.
Oh shit. I make you co-host then. Just be here and do this. Okay, you stay here.
Okay. Alright, so yes. Anyways, so go on group pursuits then. Seth is still on the top, and Seth, the real Seth012 is there. Next question. Who is this?
Who's this? Oh, this.
This is Leqi. Leqi is right here. Leqi, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so basically, he's our tech pursuit / workshop coordinator / if he replies to you, I think mostly it's by him lah. He has been handling the groups a lot these days. He's been floating around. So thanks a lot to Leqi. Fun fact.
I do carry Linux.
You what?
I do carry Linux.
So he dual boots Kali Linux, Linux. How do you pronounce it? Whatever. Anyways, there's a lot of people I see with amazing laptops over here lah. So you want to talk about laptops with him? Say hi to Leqi.
How to? Amit? Scroll up. Scroll up all the way. But there's no one there.
Seth is still at the top. JH has risen up. Last question. What roles does Seth play in BBCS? What roles? You will get 4 roles. Which roles does he play? This is him yesterday holding his laptop in unknown state of position. Which roles does he play? Multi-select. What is he? The correct answer is all. Seth plays all roles within Building Blocks. All of these roles. Thank you so much, Seth, I guess. Seth, say hi. Everyone say hi to Seth. Great, okay. Huh? Let's see whether Seth, two people are faking Seth, is it? Let's see who it is, huh? Let's see the winners right now. 7 out of 11, Lion. Lion, say hi. Lion's at the back. No. Seth 12, who is Seth 12? Is this Seth? This is... No, it's Seth, the real Seth 12
Wait,
now.
who's that?
Who is Yellow Badger 42? I thought, wait, who was the one who kicked out? Huh? He's Seth 12. Oh. Okay. Oh well, congrats to everyone. My laptop is hanged so you can't see the 4th and 5th one. But good job everyone. Good job. Have a round of applause for everyone. Okay, I guess to end off this kind of interaction, right? Let me close this up. Yeah, this was really progress. No, you get to talk to our meeting pursuits. So okay, to end this off, right? I guess thank you to all the organizers here and in advance. I guess we all, there's a lot of us who rushed stuff at 3 a.m. or did a lot of QA complaints, and I know we have a lot of weird tech jokes, and we have Singapore Poly kids who are hungry all the time. So yeah, thank you guys. And then last thing is, can we give a round of applause to all organizers over here? Let's give a round of applause to our admin team, dev team, D&D team, and everyone else who is involved. You guys made today possible. All right, and engage more with your facilities and organizers. They're all humans, and they will talk to you willingly. They will chat with you. Don't worry. All right, so that's it for the comp interaction. Now it's time for the TRA workshop. MCs. Thanks, guys.
Some feedback from yesterday that the pace might be too fast for you. So today we'll be going way a lot more slower. Okay.
Way a lot more.
Okay. So today we'll be doing on artificial intelligence in the specialization of NLP, which is natural language processing. So what is artificial intelligence? Artificial is just feeding data into an algorithm for it to draw conclusions. So it's like feeding a baby data. It's like training a baby how to walk, how to sit, by giving a lot of test cases. So what is natural language processing? So natural language processing is the analysis of text. So for example, information retrieval, like you type in what is AI in the Google text box, then they will filter out what is, then they'll just search for results with AI. Then sentiment analysis is like analyzing how your words would sound like. For example, I say this food is bad and this food is atrocious, with atrocious being more impactful than bad. That's how you can measure sentiment. So this is very important for stuff like reviews or stocks. Then the rest is a bit sophisticated, so I'll just skip that. Okay, so now we'll do a live demo of the natural language processing in TIA. Okay, in our demo we showed yesterday, so what AI does is basically will pick up the keywords. So let's say I put 9 key phrases I want to pick up. So for example, what is?
An apple.
That's boring.
An orange.
That's boring.
Why is
something that you want to learn about?
Kingston?
Okay, Kingston.
The history of Kingston. Kingston technology.
Kingston. Then we'll go to this page.
Kingston technology.
What are you doing?
There's no about. Oh, about. Okay. Okay, then we can just copy a very large chunk of text. Something like that. So with all the text here, right, it will pick up all the important words. So I hope the AI can pick out like severe shortage or surface mount. These are the keywords of the sentences. So you generate, there you see, you can filter out all the keywords. Something like that. I don't know what the AI will filter out. So you can see from this is a very good prediction of all the keywords that you need to know. This is very good for Anki flashcards because you're going to want to know all the keywords that you have to memorize. Yeah. So, going back to my slides. Going back to my slides, we'll skip this part for now. So we'll be using this module called Natural Language Toolkit. The short form is NLTK. So this provides a suite of libraries and programs to analyze our natural language. Okay? So I want you to go to your Git pod. The Git pod from yesterday. I hope you all still have it. Anybody need help? Please raise up your hand. Can you go up and help them set up the Git pod? Any problem getting into this page? No problem, right? Okay. So on the left hand side, right, you see this part, this backend subfolder. I want you to press it, then go into this NLP_tools. Okay? So we have this, right? I'll just close this. So you should see something like this. Everybody see something like this? Okay.
Tell them give you a thumbs
Give a thumbs up if you see this. Okay. So to do natural language processing, right, we need to go through these are the 4 stages. One of the few stages you need to go through. The first one is tokenization. So we'll break up natural language processing into 3 words. NL to natural language and processing. Then the next one will be lemonization. In this case, lemonization will be converting a word into its root word. Then the last one will be stop words. So what does a stop word do? We remove the useless word in the sentence. So as you can see from an example here, when was the first computer invented? When we remove when was the, it will help us to filter out what a keyword in the sentence should be. The last one will be parts of speech tagging. So we are going to break the words down into their classification. So for example, proper nouns or adjectives. Okay? So the first one will be tokenization. I'd like everybody to go back to the Git pod. The Git pod and just press play for the. If you all might have problems, so please press install. I don't know if they probably do. Okay, everybody else can follow, right? Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, so now I go to the second, I'll press the first cell, make sure it's running. So I should see something like this on the screen. So I know that the model is downloaded already. Okay, once I've successfully installed, I'll now talk about the second cell here. So firstly, we'll import the NLTK module here. Then we'll import the tokenized module from NLTK here.
What's NLTK?
Natural language.
Tell me for what?
I say you guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
So we have a text here. It's a very long text about a HTTP request. So what we'll do here is that we'll try to tokenize it using word underscore tokenize with the text variable inside. So if you run it, we'll see an error like this. So this is a common problem we face with NLTK. So what I want to do, right, is on the terminal. On the terminal here, everyone can see the terminal is the bottom part. And so I'll type Python into it, and it will open an idle for me. Okay. Wait, I think you Control Shift P. Control Shift P. Okay, I need you all to Control Shift P first. Control Shift P, followed by Control R.
For what? Yeah, you click the PIP, you know just now that one. Click the what? The PIP install is it?
What? Can you repeat your question?
So you just install the standard extensions, right?
Yeah.
Notebook and Jupyter and Python. Cannot
Yeah. I don't know why it's not. So his computer cannot open the Jupyter notebook. I don't know why.
This problem is
Okay. Control Shift P, then reload window. Okay. Okay, so the next part we'll do is in the terminal we'll type Python. Then we go press import NLTK. Then NLTK.download. The Pang T, right?
Yeah.
Download this thing called Pang T. Yeah, so you can follow the thing on the screen. Yeah, so this will call a sub-module from NLTK for you to process your language. Then you also need to download something else, is stop words. Yeah. Okay. Then you run the cell again. And it should return you all the words in the sentence in an array. Okay, so I hope all of you can have this.
You say the backend file is located.
I hope you all can get this result here. Anybody cannot?
Yeah, it's inside the
Then press more action.
No, it's just on.
Okay. Then we'll go to the next cell. So now what I want you to do, right? I want you all to assign the tokens to an array named tokens. Can you all do that? It's one line. A lot of you on the cell 1, you might have the problem, there was an error checking the latest version of pip, right? So what I want you to do, right? Yeah, but a lot of people cannot run the tokenize. Oh. Yeah.
Jensen, ask you beyond the first cell.
Yeah.
The import part.
Yeah, you just continue.
Okay. Can you assign the So how to solve this challenge is just write token, then equals to, you go scroll up a bit, then you just have the last line word underscore tokenize. Go down, and then you just put it on the right side. So this is how you put the tokens into as an array. Can you do that?
Jialat, I mute it, brother.
They downloaded the stuff already, but then it still doesn't work.
Gerald, can you see your previous instruction? I muted it accidentally.
What previous instruction? Which one?
Just you said before.
Oh, I just said. Okay, so for those online, what I need you to do is just type this code out to assign tokens. To assign the tokens into a tokens array. Okay, so from here, I hope most of you can get into this part where you assign the tokens into an array. Everybody thumbs up if you can get this part. Okay, so next part we'll be going on lemonization. So what lemonization is just breaking down words into their root words. So for example, the word, there are 4 words: trouble, troubling, troubled, and troubles. So what we're doing here is going to break down into their root word, which is trouble. So using this, we can simplify the terms for a computer to do analysis. Okay, so going back to our Git port here. Going back to our Git port here, we're going to need to import the lemonizer from NLTK using this function. Then we create a lemonizer object. Then we lemonize this word rocks. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press run. And then we have another error here. So you can see here that the error is you have to run this. So I'm going to run this as well. And I'm going to run this again. Then I also need to download this. Run again. Yeah, then it lemonizes rocks into rock. Everybody can get to this stage. Raise hand if you need help. We come around. Point. Okay. So what I want to do here, right? We have this tokens array just now. We have this tokens array. You have this tokens array just now, right? So what I want to do, right? Using Python functions, I want you to lemonize all the words in the tokens array. So as you can see here, I have this array over here. I want everybody to write some code to lemonize all the words in the tokens array. You have 5 minutes to do it. You can start at anything. You can reassign to tokens world. Okay. Everyone can do it. Thumbs up. Or can't do it. Thumbs down. Okay. So I hope you have tried out, but now I'll show you how it's done. So to lemonize all the words in the token, you just run for token in tokens. Token in tokens. So this will iterate through every single token. Then you can lemonize in the function on top. You can lemonizer.lemonize the token. And you Control Z. Copy the. You can copy the lemonizer.lemonize. So this is the method to lemonize the word. So you just put token as a parameter. Yeah. Then we need to assign it to something. So what do we assign it to? Yeah.
Oh, not here, right?
Yeah, you go on top. Go up. Go up. Yeah, here. Equals to the square bracket. Yeah, then you lemonize underscore token append on the bottom here.
Ah.
No. On the same line.
Ah. Oh my god.
Forget everything. Yeah, so what we have done here is that we have iterated through every token in the tokens list. Then we lemonize in the individual word. So as you can see here, you can see every word here is of the root word. Anybody have a problem with this? Anybody needs help? Everybody needs help. Anybody needs help? Okay. Anybody else need help? Yeah, I think we can move on. So the next part here, right, we'll talk about stop words. So essentially, right, to filter out what is stop words. So let's take a look at this sentence. An HTTP request is made by a client to a name host which is located on a server. So we can identify those useless words that will confirm there will be a stop word. There will never be a keyword. So let's say you're highlighting this for your exam. You will highlight HTTP request, client, name host, and server. So you will highlight these words which do not provide any extra value to your understanding of content. So in this sense, keywords will be this. Okay? So now we'll go back to the GitHub page, yeah. So what we'll do here is we'll import the model from NLTK to import a stop words from the NLTK model. Then we call the stop words, which is a set of stop words they have in their library. So we'll use English for that. Then using this function here, we'll filter out all those tokens that are inside this set. Okay, so we'll run this, and then you see another error like that. Tokens. Okay, so so in the code just now, I want you to change Lemonized token into new token. I need you to run this cell again, then run this. Then you see that all the stop words have been removed. Yes. That's the challenge. Okay, in the Lemonized code, we'll change the Lemonized token into new tokens, new underscore tokens. Where? Eldon, can you see it? Then for Mingqi, do you have? Can you tell me the error that you have? Anybody on site has any problems? Mingqi, what part of the code is that? Which cell are you running? Do you run the first cell? Okay. Then what can I have the error? I need the whole error. I need the whole.
Name error. Ask me. I think name error. Tokenize. Is it?
Wait, I change. Wait, you need to rerun the lemon. You need to rerun the. You need to rerun. You need to run the. You need to rerun. Which line? You need to rerun the lemmatized code here. Okay, so now I'll move on to the next part. So the last and final part will be on POS tagging. So what this is parts of speech tagging. So with a word you have inputted, they will convert it into the type of what it is. So for example, on the screen here you see Labor Day. This is a proper noun. So if you push this into the tagging function, it will return NMP, which stands for proper noun. So with this, we can try to know what kind of word this text is. What kind of word this is, yeah. So if it's something like a suffix or quantifier, then it will most likely not be a keyword. Then for those proper nouns and adjectives, then it might probably be a keyword. Yeah. So we'll go back to the Git pod. I want you to run this cell here. Then you might see another error here.
what? Look up. Need a professional debugger. Professional debugger 看一下。
It's a very good question.
Okay, you guys really don't know how to do this. This is a surface.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know why. I know why.
Walao, I come down then ever no more. Walao. I should stay up there, then you got a lot more errors. Did you even download
the aggregator I have downloaded?
Your switching of Stack Overflow. Aggregator.
That's a lot
Perceptron. Huh? Hey, you can't be sure or not?
Yeah, can.
Because you use position tagger here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you all need to download the NLTK this average perceptron tagger. Then you can try to run it again and work. You need to download this.
What are the different things that you download? Ask me for everything. They reply to everyone.
What are the different?
From the start,
yeah.
What is the first one? D, T.
Pang T.
What
Stop
stop?
words.
Stop words. With a S?
Yeah.
Then.
Got some more, but it's in the error. This on my.
OMW. It's OMW, right?
Yeah. Okay, get this.
1 point.
NLTK.download average perceptron tagger. So So I highlighted it.
What else? Oh no.
The word net.
Yeah, one and one word, right?
Yeah. Then the average perceptron dagger. Maybe maybe you can see the code.
Perception dagger.
Yeah.
What is lookout?
Why?
Huh?
This person.
Tokens is not defined. Means you never.
I think for the tokens it's not defined.
First part where you define tokens.
Wait, guys, Jupiter doesn't work.
Okay,
So I think Steph download, like reinstall the whole thing, but still cannot.
Perception.
Sorry about the error. Exclamation mark.
Why?
Friendly.
We got some feedback, right? So, since the inputs are all over the place, they have to one by one install all the modules on VS. Yeah, so they say it would be better if you just like next time, I guess, just show all the things they need to import first, then they can install.
Okay.
Give them time to install.
Okay.
Then can yeah. All right. Goodbye.
Thank you.
What did he say?
He said next time ask them to install everything first.
Oh. I don't think so. Okay, so now back to the slides. So today we'll be learning two very simple algorithms. One is called RAG, which stands for Rapid Automatic Extraction Tool. So this RAG algorithm was made by a few university scholars, which they theorized that keywords really contain punctuation, stop words, or other words with minimum lexical meaning, which means like doesn't really have a lot of meaning. Yeah. So you also try to match words like bad and rubbish, which have semantic proximity, which means they have similar meaning. Okay. So to run this RAG algorithm, it will be very simple. We're going to need to install RAG/NLTK. We're going to run this cell. Once the cell is run, we're going to the next cell and we're going to run this one. Okay? Then you see, he has all the keywords extracted out for you using AI.
Stop picking the persona.
Everyone can reach this stage? Okay. Okay, so one of the shortcomings of this is that in the uniform resource locator, they have this extra ending bracket here. So most likely he has not enough stop words to filter this out. So I want to challenge you all to filter this, filter all the punctuation out. Yeah. Okay. So to end off, I'm going to teach you another extraction tool which is known as PyTextRank. So PyTextRank is way more sophisticated as it uses Nova solution keyword extraction. It has employed deep learning and used like a very large database to rank the solution of the words. So that will be on the final few cells. So I'm gonna run this. Then we're gonna run the other one, and then it's gonna extract all the keywords out for us also. Okay, so I'll wrap up and then I'll continue later.
Now will be your breaks and games.
Now will be your breaks and games. Yes.
You want clarify any last question first, then
It's one sub by error.
Who?
The one, the TJC one.
Okay.
You mute this one. You mean you mute this?
No.
Not yet. Okay. Okay, go back. Later we come down again.
You should take your. Okay, so no, I should. So there's two lightning talks. There's a break, then there's two lightning talks. Then you'll continue at 3:50. You'll continue around 3:15.
Yeah.
So you need Gary on this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do it on the bit first. Okay. I can. My MC is going to. Okay. Let me do this. I'll take over from it. Okay. We're gonna get break for a short while first. If you guys want to continue or you want to ask the workshop organizers any questions, you can take some time. But come back by 2:45. 2:45. We'll have a couple of lightning talks coming up. Yeah, at 2:45. So right now, if you need to take a toilet break, especially people who join online, you can feel free to do so.
And are energized to carry on with the rest of the day. So now, alright, let's welcome Carl Boller, who will be presenting a talk about Code Collab. Everyone, please give him a warm welcome.
You can shut up your mic first. Okay, very cool.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Hi, okay, I'm Carl, and today, or rather right now, I will be introducing you or giving you a bit more explanation on Code Collab. Okay, woo, fantastic. So, yeah, hi. Okay. Okay, so during the COVID-19 pandemic, I think a lot of you here have experienced just a minor inconvenience to your lives when about because of the virus. Just very minor of not being able to leave your home. Now, this affected quite a lot of things in society, obviously, but I think what's most relevant to majority of us here is we were not able to go back to school. Oh no, very sad. Now, although Singapore actually managed to handle this quite decently well, a lot of other places around the world did not. And people were stuck in an endless loop of going into lockdown and then come out again, lockdown, come out again, lockdown, come out again. Very, very sad. But yeah, that left a lot of kids around the world stranded at home struggling to get a decent education using Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft Teams or whatever video platforming you want to use. Now specifically, although this definitely caused a lot of problems for a lot of different educational parts of education, I'm going to specifically focus on computing, okay, or the computer science aspect, and how did it fare during the pandemic. But some of you might be asking, why am I focusing on computing for, other than this is a computing conference, but why am I focusing on computing? Isn't like everything we do for computing already on the computer? So it makes no sense. They would have fared the best, correct? Now you will be right to a certain extent, but that is kind of missing quite a big part of the picture here. Because even though all you need is just a computer to code, actually learning to code, especially in a classroom setting, involves quite a bit more than just blindly copying down code. Or at the very least, I want to hope that none of you here are just blindly copying down code. But yeah, a big part of learning to code actually involves making mistakes, and lots of them. I think all of you here should be familiar with Python, and you should know that this is very, very bad Python code. Please do not write code like this. But yeah, when you're new to this stuff, it can be a little bit difficult to try and realize what exactly did you do wrong. But normally in the classroom setting, right, or if you're in school, you can just easily just raise up your hand and go like, hey, Cher, my code got red color, can help me or not? Or Cher, my code not working, what's going on? So this is one of the major issues when trying to teach a coding class online. Your Cher can't just walk up in front of you or behind you and point to your computer screen and say, there got error, or here got error, or whatever. So then what do we do? Or what is my so-called proposed solution for this? And that would have been, Code Collab, which is this lighting is a terrible contrast, but don't worry, you get to see it better later. So what is Code Collab? I think some of you have already tried it during this conference, but just to give you a refresher, Code Collab is an online code editor and compiler that allows our users to test and run code together in a real-time collaborative environment. And at the moment, Code Collab supports over 19 different programming languages. Again, the background is terrible for this, but for example, it supports HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, Python, PHP, Java, C++, and many, many more. Okay, so I will be giving you a quick demonstration on Code Collab and how does it work. Where is Ray Young? Hi, Ray Young. Could you come down? Thank you. Okay, so we are going to go into Code Collab. I'm going to change the theme to light theme so you can actually see the screen. Yeah, I'll zoom in also.
Yeah, it's a fun for lighting down. But no, the projectors are just garbage.
And it'll be fantastic if this thing will connect. But yeah. Okay, in the meantime, do you want to pass this around to one person?
You can ask them for volunteers.
Hi, okay, so who wants to try to code now, like willingly, for fun? Just raise up your hand, we'll let you type stuff into this code editor. I see a hand back there, he wants to try and code. I see another hand back there, okay, Rayon, you know what to do, give them a code editor. Make sure the iPad stays on because it might switch off, okay? I'm going to reopen this. There you go. Wait, give one there. Does anyone on this side want to try? Just raise up your hand. Want to try? Don't want to try? Don't want? Okay, never mind, just give it to them now, okay? Whoa, okay, great, okay. For the two of you that were the lucky winners of the laptop or the iPad, right? You can open up main.py and you can see some code in here. Alright. Thanks for the Mac. We are not giving you the MacBook, we are loaning you the MacBook, okay? So, first thing you will notice is that this code editor is collaborative. Think of it like your Google Docs, but for code. So, as you can see, this person, which I probably should not have trusted with a laptop, is currently typing stuff. I can also type stuff on the screen and it will show on their screen. But sure, you can type stuff together in real time, but this doesn't really mean much or mean anything. What if we want to test our code or run our code? On the right here, you see this thing? This thing is called a terminal or a console, and it works and functions very similar to your terminal or console inside of your VS Code. In fact, it's exactly the same console. So all you have to do is press the run button and it will run this code. So in case you're not too sure what this code does, right, it is an isPrime function. So it just tells you if the number you gave it is a prime number. Then below it generates a sequence of prime numbers until it generates 100 prime numbers. Then it prints all 100 prime numbers on the screen. So yes, it works. Very cool. Now what if I want to do more than just run my code? You can do that too. I'm not too sure if many of you here are familiar with the Linux shell, but if you are familiar with Linux shell or bash, we even give you a bash console here to play with. How cool is that? So you can just do ls, and you can see all the files here. If you want to create a new file, you can create a new file and it will appear on the left here. If I delete the file, Autocomplete works too. Oh no, the child disconnected. Never mind. We will not look at that. But yes, you can collaborate. I'm not too sure what they're trying to do there. No, the function already prints the first 200 prime numbers, so like you don't have to do it again. I don't know what you're doing, but never mind. You have now seen a demonstration for Code Collab. Very cool. Ray Young, please take it back before they steal my laptop. Okay. We'll let you play around with it more later. We have a bit more time. But yes, wait, where's the iPad? Oh, okay, thank God. Okay, don't take the iPad. No, give me the iPad. Give me the iPad. Okay. But now that you've seen Code Collab and you've seen what it can do or what it does, let's give you a bit of a rundown of our current standings or current reputation in both the local and international community. So, how legit or how for real is Code Collab? Well, at the moment, Code Collab has been growing quite steadily because of the COVID-19 pandemic, to the point that we have reached about, to the point that we have reached about 51,000 registered users, with about 4,000 to 5,000 of them being active monthly users. And among all of these users, right, they have created a whopping 123.8 thousand projects. Whoa, that's a very big number there. But just for some interesting statistics, out of all the projects people have created on Code Collab, more than a third of them were Python 3.9 projects, then 2.16 Java, and 17.6 C++. And then for fun, we decided to include some statistics on the least popular languages on Code Collab. So we have CoffeeScript with literally just 82 projects, Perl with 60, and our newest language, Python Flask, at only 55. Now, we have also in the past been endorsed by many different local and both international schools and institutions, most notably pretty much everything I've ever been part of. So like, we have SST, we have or had Dunman High, and we have Lawrence S. Ting School from Vietnam. And of course, we are also officially partnered with Think Academy, which is a course provider here in Singapore. Now, on top of this, we are also informally partners, or rather, we just help out many other schools around the world. So these are just a few examples of schools who informally use Code Collab in their classrooms or in their courses or etc. or whatever. So we have schools in the UK, Malaysia, Italy, Canada, a lot of places. And then we also have an official partner in Australia called Open Learning. So they are basically an LMS platform. Think of it like SLS. So they are sort of like the SLS for Australia, okay? So Open Learning is our first major corporate partner, and after we have partnered with them, Code Collab now has the ability to be implemented in Blackboard, in Brightspace, in SLS, in pretty much any learning management system possible thanks to our supporting of LTI. Very cool. And then we also managed to win this award back in 2019. It's a Tech Blazer Award. It's pretty cool. All it does is recognize cool tech innovations or projects here in Singapore. That's a picture of me. That's the big thing I got from the award. I got that nice trophy there and like a nice picture with two pretty cool people. Oh, we also got like a Business Times mention. That was pretty cool. Okay, so now we've talked about all that stuff. Let's talk about the stuff that you computing students might be more interested in, and that is how do we even make this thing? Or like, what is the technologies behind creating a online collaborative code editor and compiler? Okay, it's gonna be a bit much, so just sit in with me for a short while. So on the surface, right, our infrastructure. So what is our infrastructure? So that's basically all the services that we use to host our servers, pretty much just our servers. We mostly use Google Cloud or GCP. 90% of our infrastructure runs on GCP. And the remaining 10% or so is split between Netlify for our front end and AWS because we're forced to use them. Then there is MongoDB Cloud or Compass and Redis Cloud that we use for our databases. Now I'm going to talk a bit more about Google Cloud. I'm not too sure if many of you have used Google Cloud here before, but it's one of the three major cloud providers here in Singapore. And we specifically chose them because, in my opinion, they're like the easiest to use. But more specifically, we don't just use Google Cloud's compute engine. Instead, we use Google Cloud comes with a bunch of other different tools that lets you do all sorts of very fun things or very, very cool stuff that helps you save costs as much as possible. Or specifically, we use Google Cloud's App Engine, the Kubernetes engine, Compute Engine, and Cloud Run. Now, this is a big list of things that we have inside of Collab. So we generally follow this style of infrastructure or architecture called microservices. So we basically divide up our entire system into much smaller different parts and much more specific different parts or services. So in Collab, we do not have one server that does everything. We have like 12 different servers that do different things all together. And these different services are ran on different parts of Google Cloud because they require different kinds of needs. But yeah, this is generally the breakdown. Then for our front end, we like to use technologies such as Next.js or React.js and TypeScript. We do not use Vue, which I think I hear a lot of you here use Vue, but not a big fan. And then we have our back-end languages or services. The Node.js logo is completely black, but that's the Node.js logo there. We also use Golang for some of our smaller services. TypeScript, MongoDB, Redis, Docker, just to name a few. A lot of very cool, interesting technologies. But yeah, of course now this will be possible without like the big team behind it. And over the 5 or so years Collab has been a thing, we have managed to grow our team from 2 people to 12 people. Whoa! Thank you. Thank you. So let me introduce you to a bit more of our current team. I think some of you may recognize some of them, or some of you may not. So first we have our 4 main members. All of us do other stuff on the side too. So this is just a bit of more credentials of us. But there's mainly just me and Singba, which are the co-founders of this thing. And we of course have 2 more other new core members. One is one of your alumni, or one of Dublin's alumni, and another one is a new addition to our team. The next we have a whole 5 developers focusing on different parts of Collab. We have I don't know if any of you attended the workshop by Tia Chen yesterday. I can't remember what his workshop was about, but he's one of our iOS developers. Another Dublin High alumni, Yong Jun, is also our front-end developer. We have Ray Young. Where's Ray Young? Hi, Ray Young. Yeah, okay. Ray Young is back-end developer. Sean Wong, front-end developer. And then we have Zheng Yang, which is a DevOps intern. Then finally, we also have a design and marketing team, where we have Isaac Koh as our lead UI designer, branding and visual designer for John here, and a new social media manager for Ryan. Now, okay, what's the point of this whole talk and why am I telling you all about this? I'm not just here just to flex my own project or whatever. No, that's not the point. The point here is that we actually are interested, or we want to try to see if any of you are interested to help and join us to be able to learn new and cool things. So generally, we are looking for people to help fill one of these roles here. Bear in mind that the main point of this is mostly for portfolio and experience. aka, if you really want to learn a lot of things, by all means, I think this is a great opportunity for you to learn that whole mess of technologies that I just showed you on the board earlier. But mainly what we really need are front-end developers, so people that are, if you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, that's fine. If you know React.js, that's great. If you know Next.js, that is fantastic. Okay, you're literally perfect for us. Then there's a back-end developer, which is, if you know Node.js, amazing. If you know Golang, we really want you, because Golang developers are very hard to find. If you're confident in your UI design skills, or at least want to give it a try, UI design is also looking for that. If you want to learn how to do CI/CD pipelines or DevOps work, we are also looking for someone for that. Or if you have no idea what you want to do, you just want to learn everything, we are also fine with that too. But if you're interested, please give me an email or talk to me after this presentation at that email at the side there, carlvoller@codecollab.io. If you feel like you're not available to do this now, but you're interested and want to do it after your A-levels, by all means, please do so, and please let me know. But yes, what's next? I've given this presentation a good 2 or 3 times here at Building Blocks already, and every time I always told or given what our next steps for Collab is. But for this year, I'm not going to do that, because I want you to come and join us so you can find out what we are going to do in the next upcoming years. And with that, yes, thank you. Woo. Any questions? I will give a little bit of time for questions if anyone's curious to find out more. Don't have? Don't have? Have, don't have? Oh. Have, okay, yes, what question? When can you join? I don't know, aren't you doing A-levels this year? I mean, like, you might want to focus on that first, but I'm saying after that, right, if you're interested, by all means, just let me know. Okay, I think you know how to contact me already. How about, huh? You know, hey, this one not reserved spot one, okay? This one is you contact me and then I'll let you know. Hi, I saw another question there. Hi.
How many hours do you work?
Sorry?
How many hours do you work?
Do I work? Like on this personally or on everything? Everything. Yo, okay. My life is not a very fun life. Let me just tell you that. I think I work pretty much every day of the week on something. I try and start as late as possible, so like 12 or 1 p.m. But like most people force me to start at like 9 a.m. So, and I work till generally around 10 or 11 p.m. also, something like that, on everything I do as a whole. Does that answer your question? Not a very fun life, but you know, it is what it is. Very well paying, highly recommend it. Like not this job, but like everything I do in total. This job in particular, very well paying in knowledge. Okay, yes, I see a question there.
So we can like apply if after A-levels if we're interested.
Yeah, by all means, yeah. Just you have the URL here, and you can find our contact details there. Or if you have any other way of contacting me personally, that works too. Just if you're interested after A-levels, by all means, just give me an email or talk to me after or whatever, and I can see what I can do for you. But generally, I'll advise you if you're doing A-levels this year, focus on your A-levels. If you're doing O-levels this year, focus on your O-levels. We're also okay getting secondary school people on board because we literally started this when we were in secondary school. Okay, so we believe you should be able to do it too. I see also another question. Don't have? Okay, okay, very cool. Any more questions? Feel free, just ask. Anything is fine. Don't be embarrassed. Hi, yes.
Why do you use Google Cloud?
Sorry?
Why do you use Google Cloud over the other service providers?
Okay, so we had 3 options, right? Google Cloud Platform, AWS, and what's the Microsoft one called? Azure. There we go. Okay. In my personal experience, okay, AWS has been a very painful experience for me to develop for me to use. Okay, Azure is not much better. It's slightly better, but it isn't much better. But they are cheaper, okay, slightly. Whereas GCP is much more user-friendly or easier to use, in my opinion. A lot of people will disagree and fight me on this, but GCP is much more easier to use in my opinion. But of course, they charge you a bit more for it. But in my opinion, at the very least, I'd much rather be able to know what I'm doing and pay a little bit extra for that convenience or for that ease of use, rather than spend twice or 3 times the amount of time trying to figure out AWS and Azure. Sorry? It's worth it because we save more than half the time using Google Cloud than if we were to use AWS or Azure. But of course, in the long run, that may end up to cost us more money. Again, my experience may be very different from most people. There are a lot of very die-hard AW fans out there and Azure fans. But personally, I am a GCP fan, so I'm just going to advocate for them. Okay. Any more last question? No? Okay, no last question. Wait, I see a question there. I don't know. You can go and figure that out. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Woo.
Thank you, Carl, for the meaningful talk. Next, we have a talk by Ms. Nasiba, an overseas educator from UAE.
Yep. Okay, hi, sorry, I was trying to check if you guys can hear me. Hello, everyone. Wow, I look scary. This is my first time actually doing a video call. It's been so long. I usually do it with the camera off, so they usually call me Nasiba, the ghost. I usually voice no picture, but I'm gonna make an exception for you today. I guess you guys enjoyed Mr. Carl's presentation, even though he was a little bit too fast for some of the parts of his PowerPoint. I can hardly keep up, but thank you so much for all of this information. The most important question, I guess, did he get his laptops back? I guess he was worried that somebody's going to take his laptop. So, yeah, but you know, it's cool. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Nasiba Arawi. Originally, I am from Iraq, but I left that part of my history around 1995. I have been around a lot of places. I will say every part of the Arabic countries, plus mostly the US. So currently, my current job is I work as a teacher. I work as teacher for secondary, which is from grade 6 all the way to grade 12. It is an international school. That means they teach British curriculum, not UAE part of curriculum. So it's kind of different in a way, and we only teach in English, no Arabic at all. Comparing when it comes to education, I think that's the purpose of this, us guys talking about it, is wherever you go, education differs. So I started teaching back in the US. So I used to teach freshmen, so grade 1 of college. And believe it or not, as a computer science teacher, when you are in a university, we have a little bit more, I would say, control as teachers. And that differs when I came here to the UAE and start working in a high school. I don't really have that freedom like I used to. It could be like the UAE system is different completely from the US system. I do not really know because I did not really teach in a high school in the US. But the ages I used to teach in the US, it ranges between 16 to 70 years old. So I used to have 2 guys, really, really old, come to my classes and sit all the way to the back. And then when I asked, like, is this really what you want to do? And he was like, well, I have nothing else. I retired. I used to work 18 hours a day, for example, and now sitting home, it's unbearable. So what can I do? I go back to school. So what he thought of doing is studying computer science, and hopefully at some point he's going to go back to work and do the things that he likes, even though he's old, but says, why do you look at my age? Age is not a limit. Yeah. And I have 16. I have some students who comes to the university, start studying from 16 years old. And I'm actually it's different environment for them, and you have to pay attention to them. It's not high school anymore. And when they do things, they do it like because they really love it and they kind of like intrigued. So in the US, it's like I said, I have more control. So as a teacher, I kind of have a say who stays and who goes. To be fair to everyone, I usually give a little task, right? And I can tell from that task if somebody can do computer science and continue 4 years of education, or have to actually, this is not the major they're looking for and they have to change it. So I'll give you an example. So I don't think you can actually see this. Well, I'm trying to let me try if I can remove the blurry. No, do this. Blurry, I don't think I can do it. Anyway, so I actually had a question that I actually say, find the average between 3 numbers, 100, 102, and 103, right? And you're gonna say, is this Miss for real? Giving this simple question to school and university to determine if they can do 4 years of degree in computer science or not. Yeah. So who can actually do this right on the top of the head without using a calculator, right? I cannot really see you now. You're the ghost. I am not, right? So in your mind, can you actually do this, finding the average of three numbers, three consecutive numbers without using a calculator? Can you find out? Right? If your answer is yes, then you definitely can do computer science. Now, who can do this with using a calculator? Right? It's not bad. It's not actually wrong. I'm assuming you can do it correctly, right? So to find the average, you have to say three numbers, you add them together, and you divide by 3, right? Believe it or not, I have some kids in college who multiplied the 3 numbers and divided by 3, or they added the numbers and divided by 2. They think that's how they can find average, right? If they did that, then those students who multiplied or divided by 2, if they cannot find a simple solution to this, how can they find solution to complicated tasks, right? So I usually say, I go around and gonna say, you know what, maybe computer science not your forte, you know, try something else. And I guess that's really nice in the US, like people or students keep jumping from one major to another the first year. So, and even some, they actually don't have even a degree yet. It's just as undeclared, right? Until you decide what you want to do by the second year, then you kind of announce what your degree needs to be, okay? So that's in the US. Unfortunately, when I come here, we are on a totally different spectrum from the UAE. I started teaching in a college first. Oh my God, it was a nightmare. Nightmare in a way of the kids or the students do not want to do any work at all. They usually go to private universities, pay money, and get degrees. So when I was told that you're not really teaching in a class, you're gonna discuss the questions that you're gonna give them at the end of the term, the whole term. So for them, when I give them the questions again, they can answer it fully and I give full marks. I could not really do that. Me as a teacher, I have a responsibility, and just to not teach and get paid and everyone passes just because they kind of redid the questions over and over and over again, it won't work, right? So in my opinion, no, that is not education, and that's not how it should be. So I actually left the college after 1 month I was there, because I said, I cannot do it. I tried, it's impossible. You know, I love teaching, and me just kind of a fake class doesn't work for me. So I left. And then I started working in a high school. And I would say it has its good moments and bad, because you actually do see some kids, like I have a grade 7 students who can program much better than a third year in college student, right? Because he loves the idea of programming, and he teaches himself when he goes home. He never stopped, and he's been also in a lot of clubs. We also had an international club that maybe some of you was part of, which is called IC4. And you should see the stuff that he's able to make and create. It is amazing, right? And at the same time, you can find some kids who just do not want to be there. And they don't want to actually even read the question to see how to do it or even follow steps. It's kind of here and there. But overall, to be honest, what makes my education or my teaching experience a lot more enjoyable is to have those kids who, you know, ask questions and curious, and they kind of like, you know, try to create specific things from what they learned. So they are imaginative and creative, right? To find that grade 7 students can actually have a big problem and then divide it into smaller problems, and then try to find solution to that small problem, and then try to make everything together into one big complete program. That, for example, he did the last thing was to show a website using Python language, right? The way he created databases and created accounts. It was something about cleaning the ocean, or actually it was environmental website where it helps cleaning areas. So you create groups. If you like to volunteer, you can check the website. You can see if there's a cleaning area in that area, you can just join, right? It's a lot of, I know it sounds simple, but there's a lot of background work to it, right? So that's how the two is different. So I would say that when it comes to computational thinking and logical thinking, I would say it really had nothing to do with age. Honestly, it all goes back to you, right? So you finding a solution for the average of three numbers, which is actually, I'm not really sure if you guys know, what is the average of these three numbers, if you can do it on the top of your head, right? Because they're consecutive, they're gonna be the middle, right? So the average is gonna be 102 because they are consecutive. So if you add divide by 3, it's 102, right? So that you thinking like that, it is really higher order thinking, right? Using the calculator, you're actually on the way of higher order thinking. It just, you need to train your brain a little bit more, right? But if you cannot find the average of this at all, then we need to work a little harder, okay? But I guess that's everything about me. Do you guys have any questions, or do I need to cover anything else when it comes to education here in the UAE, in the US?
Sorry, let me repeat that question again. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Nasiba? No questions?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think the audience here has any questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you guys find the average? Who found the average without using a calculator? Show of hands. I cannot see, like I said, now you're the ghost. I am not the ghost. Whoa, I look scary, man, in the high definition. Woohoo. Okay, so maybe whoever is actually in the class, anyone raise their hand to find the average without a calculator? I cannot still see, it's too tiny.
Yeah, there's a bunch of students that raised their hands.
Yeah, so that is really, really good. So if I was your teacher first year in college, I will let you stay. Okay, so like I said, computational thinking, it's really hard for us to teach, you know, how to train your brain to find logical order. It's really hard for us to teach as teachers, but I know that it is something they start doing in the US. When you go to college, they actually start retrain your brain into how to find a logical solution. And if you guys are really interested into looking into that, maybe I can put you in touch with the right people, you know, but for the moment, unfortunately, that's something I cannot and I will never do for students who is in school. Probably I'll do it in college, but not in school. Okay. Okay, well, if you guys don't have any questions, it was really nice, well, you meeting me, and I can see you kind of from far away. And if you guys need anything, please feel free to ask for my contact information from your organizer. Probably he has it. I'll be more than happy to answer any emails. Yeah?
Yep. Okay.
Have a wonderful day. Enjoy.
All right. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Okay. Right. All right. So thank you, Ms. Nasiba, for that very insightful sharing. Okay. Next up, we will have the TRA team to continue their workshop. Yeah. Do you want to like explain what you're going to go through first before you show the video? Okay.
Okay, welcome back, guys. So for this part, we'll be integrating the AI into our web page. So how do we integrate to the web page? We're doing something called API. So I'm going to let this video do some explanation.
Connectivity is an amazing thing. By now, we're all used to the instant connectivity that puts the world at our fingertips. From desktops or devices, we can purchase, post, pin, and pick anything, anywhere. We are connected to the world and each other like never before. But how does it happen? How does data get from here to there? How do different devices and applications connect with each other to allow us to place an order, make a reservation, or book a flight with just a few taps or clicks? The unsung hero of our connected world is the Application Programming Interface, or API. It's the engine under the hood and is behind the scenes that we take for granted, but it's what makes possible all the interactivity we've come to expect and rely upon. But exactly what is an API? It's a question everyone asks. Okay, not really, but we're glad you did. The textbook definition goes something like this. In computer programming, an application programming interface, API, is a set of routines, protocols, and tools for building software. An API expresses a software component in terms of operations, inputs, outputs, and underlying types. Okay, to speak plainly, an API is the messenger that takes requests and tells a system what you want to do, and then returns the response back to you. To give you a familiar example, think of an API as a waiter in a restaurant. Imagine you're sitting at the table with a menu of choices to order from, and the kitchen is the part of the system which will prepare your order. What's missing is the critical link to communicate your order to the kitchen and deliver your food back to your table. That's where the waiter, or API, comes in. The waiter is the messenger that takes your request or order and tells the system, in this case the kitchen, what to do, and then delivers the response back to you, in this case, food. Now that we've whetted your appetite, let's apply this to a real API example. You're probably familiar with the process of searching for airline flights online. Just like at a restaurant, you have a menu of options to choose from. A drop-down menu in this case. You choose a departure city and date, a return city and date, cabin class, and other variables. In order to book your flight, you interact with the airline's website to access the airline's database to see if any seats are available on those dates and what the cost might be based on certain variables. But what if you're not using the airline's website, which has direct access to the information? What if you are using an online travel service that aggregates information from many different airlines? The travel service interacts with the airline's API. The API is the interface that, like your helpful waiter, can be asked by that online travel service to get information from the airline system over the internet to book seats, choose meal preferences, or baggage options. It also then takes the airline's response to your request and delivers it right back to the online travel service, which then shows it to you. So now you can see that it's APIs that make it possible for us all to use travel sites. The same goes for all interactions between applications, data, and devices. They all have APIs that allow computers to operate them, and that's what ultimately creates connectivity. So whenever you think of an API, just think of it as your waiter running back and forth between applications, databases, and devices to deliver data and create the connectivity that puts the world at our fingertips. And whenever you think of creating an API, think MuleSoft.
Okay guys, so well, we settled some stuff right now. Let me just so right now, right, we settled out the front end part, right, but you might have noticed that, you know, the data that any change you make, for example, like create a new tag, or create a new tag, or delete a new tag, or anything, then the data might be shown there temporarily. Yeah, so but the data is just stored there locally. So when you refresh the page, any change you make is gone. So how do we circumvent that problem? Well, we have to store any changes we've made. Store any changes we've made onto a permanent database. Okay, so later we will send you a code. Okay, so you can take a look. So we will have a database, right, in our back end. Alright, and then what our main focus for today will be to take information from the back end and display it, and also to give information to the back end to change it, delete, adding new items. Okay, so in a short moment, the screen will be back up.
No, I know, but no, I just blank it out. I'll do something. No, screen don't get back up.
Oh, the screen won't get back up. So wait, now what's the issue?
Now you really know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Need more time. No, I know female gay.
So you're saying Discord, right?
Yeah. This one is the desktop view.
Desktop view in the Discord.
Yeah. I see
Okay,
the-
so in
We change the edit that. Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah.
so you send a new code, right? So can everybody please replace the current code in that
Main, right?
in the yeah.
main.view to this code right here sent in the Discord. Then after everybody done that, we carry on. In main.view. Is everybody clear on what to do?
Yes. Oh, there's no data. Oh, you need to run the Microsoft here they got problem or not?
Okay, so did anybody have any issues? Okay. So right, in order to retrieve data from our backend server, right, we will have to run it. Okay, so how do we run our backend server? So can everybody remember the NLP tools .ipynd just now? In that same backend folder, we have our backend.py. So that's our server code. So can everybody in the terminal type?
Create a new terminal.
Oh, okay. Before you have to create a new terminal. So you can see the plus button. Okay, everybody create a new terminal. And then in the new terminal, type cd backend. Okay. And everybody cd to the backend. Okay, now you have to import. You have to install some modules. The first one is pip install flask. Everybody can do this. Anybody unclear what to do? Just an error.
Error?
Is that the rest and? Okay, so class is basically the module for our server. So I won't go into much into detail into it right now. You just learn how to communicate with our server from you. So next you will pip install flask course.
Discord. The main.view. Main.view.
Dash capital A.
Big C.
Yeah. Okay. So then after that you will install Anybody any problems?
Click install plus.
Are you inside the backend directory? Alright. So first you click install plus. The next one. So it's just actual cores. The collecting part is not included.
Wait.
Okay.
What does it say? Wait.
Okay, next is so we will be making use of our the AI that we learned just now. So we have to install NLTK. Break NLTK. Okay, so once all of our modules are installed, we will run the server. We will type. Oh yeah. We have to download the specific NLTK modules, like earlier just now. So we have to download Stockworks.
Yes, right?
Yes.
Yes. And UNKT. Everybody clear out what to do? Is anybody confused?
Just punky and stop it.
Okay, so if everything is successful, you should see this as just now. You have to make it public.
You cannot exit.
Oh.
Reload.
But panel gone.
Just control. And then run it again.
Yes, sir. What's the problem?
Not problem. There are some issues that okay, right. So what else do you need to program NLTK?
NLTK is Stockworks and UNKT counts.
Fluctuations and Stockworks. I thought those were installed earlier.
No, those are in the return also.
Right. Yeah, thank you.
You must tell them to make valid.
So if you just now see the pop-up just now, right, you have to make it public. So this will allow us to allow our view file to call from it. So just to show you basically how we will retrieve information, right? So if you click on the if you click on the link there, the HTTP 127.0.0.1 control click, it will bring you to our server. So you can type in Anki/dex. So this will basically give you what decks are in our database. So by thinking, oh wait, what URL is give what kind of data? So this is why we will have API spec sheet, so you can see which URL you will need to access to get what kind of data. So you can see here, there are different types of URL. So just now we went to Anki dex, and we will get our data in a list of dictionaries, deck ID and deck name. So you can see below, there are other URLs, like for example, Anki deck ID, which will get the information of one card only. You can see. Yeah. So there are also, instead of retrieving data, you can also send data. But first, we will work on retrieving data to display in our view. Okay, so first of all, wait, is everybody okay up to this point? Can everybody get their server up and running?
Show something like that.
You should see this page, this running on the 127.0.0.1. Okay, the last 3 lines are not code that you type in. It's just to show there's a server showing you that it has received like a browser trying to retrieve data from it. Okay, I'll send the URL, the different types of the API spec sheet to the Discord. So hang on.
Let me see. His NLP is thanks for asking where do you take it from?
NLP tools.
Okay. So now you will start using our view. You start using our view to retrieve data from it. Okay, so first of all, can everybody go to your
main, right? Main.ts.
Main.view.
Okay, everybody go main.ts. So it's underneath the main.view and app.view. Okay, so everybody go to main.ts and you should see something like this. Can everybody, is everybody at this file? Can everybody see this code? Yes? Can? Anybody not sure what's happening? Everybody okay? Okay, so
tell him we are using backend of P. Tell him we don't need to see the code actually. Tell him just type in terminal CE backend. Oh my god, let me see now import all. Do you remember what I said just now? All the stuff we installed.
With all the fast thing.
Okay, so what we will use in Vue in order to get our data is we have to import an external module. So something like NLTK also, we have to import Axios from Axios. Alright.
You click on the browser, the server.
So you can see this now, that the entire URL is really, really long. And every time you want to call, you do not want to type out the entire thing. So we can set what's the default URL. You can set the default URL to that one in order to shorten it, shorten what we need to type. Okay? So what we need to do, so the URL will be different from everybody. So what I need everybody to do is to first type axios dot defaults dot base URL equals to the URL of your server without the in key text. Okay, just to show you how we enter the server again.
Go to the terminal, the Python.
So we will click on the HTTP, control click, and then we will copy this URL into this default.base URL.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, is everybody okay with that? Anybody has any issues? Can raise your hand. Okay, I give everybody a short while to paste in their own server URL.
Everybody can.
Okay. Okay, next we will have to type, so you enter from here, axios dot default. So dot default headers dot post. You can just see the screen. So what this will do is to essentially to initialize what kind of data will be retrieved. Yeah, so I give everybody 30 seconds to copy this down also. Yeah, remember to put a semicolon at the end of both lines. Okay, everybody finish already? Okay, so now that the server is initialized and also initialize our Axios module, we will go back to the main view. Oh, you all have it. Oh, okay, so now you will have to so now you have to when you initialize the page you have to get the data. Okay, so how do we do that? So can everybody see this initialize? What? So to just explain what this initialize is when you first load a page, they will run the server, I mean the view will run the initialize. So then you will run any functions, any functions or methods, return under initialize. Okay, so this is just to show you an example Excel's code. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll type axios.get. So what that will do is to retrieve the data from our URL. Okay, so you remember just now how you may have tried typing /key/dex and then you all receive some okay, so I think everybody needs to actually add an extra M key at the back, yeah, at the main.ts. Okay, and go back to our main.view. Okay, so this chunk of code is quite complicated. Okay, so first of all, they will run axios.get. Okay, and then what do they do with the data after? Yeah, so this will be the data that our view will get. But what do they do with the data? So you go to our view, so you can see that the .then will tell the view what they will do with the data. Okay, so then we will have to type the RES key, then you type this equals to, then more than, and then you type this.topics equals to res_key.data. So this is basically to initialize all our starting topics. Just now, you remember changing like the name, the desserts yesterday to the data. So you basically set those topics to the data that we get. Okay, give us a moment. Does anybody have any issues so far? Does anybody solve some technical issues. Okay, so now when we rerun, okay, hang on, we wait for the screen gets back on. Okay, so now right, you can see that just now the data that we retrieved will actually be displayed. It will initialize our topics as the data that we get. So if you click on your view and click on your view click on your view URL and there's you don't see this, maybe you can try we'll show you how to rerun the server. So you just press Ctrl C in the node in your view terminal and just type npm run serve again to rerun and recompile the code. So can everybody see the new view page? Okay, so now, so as you can get data, right, but we can also post data.
I see.
So we can go back to here. So you can see that when we initialize the page, we will retrieve the DAX to display. But let's say you want to add a DAG, right? You have to post. Then you will insert a DAG to the database. So you will permanently add a DAG to the database. And same goes with delete. You will permanently delete a DAG from the database. But we will have to use different functions. So instead of axios.get, you have to use axios.post and axios.delete in order to send a request to our server. So in our code, so you can see under delete item confirm at line 213. So this is where after you click, are you sure you want to delete? Okay, give you an example. So you can just create a new tag. So you can see here. Oh, yeah. After you click delete, so then you'll run this function. So you can see here, you are called axios.delete, right? And then which URL to send to. But unlike get, right, we will have to send data. You have to send data we have to send which DAG to delete from our server. So what we do is, you have to specify this chunk of code right here, data, followed by what the data is. So it's this dot editor item. So some of you are wondering what this dot editor item is. So, well, this dot editor item is basically the data you will create whenever you press the delete button.
It's so hard to explain.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you can see it's under here, editor item.
So just to show you. So when you click the delete item, you will change the this.edited item, and then you will assign it with the relevant data. So for example, we click on delete, right? And you click on delete, it will first change, so it will set the edited item with the deck ID and deck name. And then we will send the deck ID and deck name to our server so they can know which ones to delete. Alright. Can everybody get the idea of how you use Axios to send, retrieve, manipulate, post data to our server? So can everybody understand how the Axios allows two-way communication between our front end and back end?
Time's up. Huh? I don't know. Oh, apparently no, they don't understand.
Nothing.
The guy shake his head.
Who where?
The middle guy. You try ask again. If you understand, put a thumbs up.
There's nothing else we can do. Just pass the time what you said.
You should ask. Can you give a code instead? If you need help, contact us.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of our workshop. So it has been a little bit rushed, because we didn't really have time to.
We have a lot of content to cover, then a lot of teammates are down with COVID.
Yeah, so we are unable to efficiently teach to the best. So there are some content that we were unable to teach you in time, but we still hope that through our yesterday, earlier in the afternoon, and after this workshop, you will have a better understanding of how we can use Vue to create a website and how to use templates. So we do not have to code everything from scratch. You can just edit the necessary parts. You can also learn how to use Axios to retrieve data from APIs, which is relevant to your hackathon. If you after the workshop ends, if you still have any questions, you feel free to feel free to send us a PM on Discord, and we will try our best to help you there. Thank you for listening. We are a TRI team, and we hope you learn a lot from these workshops. Thank you.
Wow, that was a good workshop. So I hope you guys have learned something interesting from the workshop and implemented it in your future projects. So speaking of projects, we will give you guys 1 hour until 5:30 to work on your projects together with your teammates.
Can you get the IA team to come back down? So you have.
Are they not done?
Okay, now it's the TIA plus me part. It's the me funny part.
Just tell them that slash timetables doesn't
Okay,
work.
so Now is the other part of the workshop, which is the other API for this conference. So for that, it's the other API. So we'll teach you how to access that. So the TRA team should have taught you how to use, in general, APIs with JavaScript, which involves calling data and posting data to a server. So I understand some of you are in the standard track, or some of you are using Flask as backend. So in Flask, you can actually use requests instead of Axios in JavaScript to also access APIs with the same post or get request. But we'll just be teaching you our general API. Then you can implement it with whatever ways you wish to, whether it's in Python or in JavaScript. Right. Do you know use Axios?
Yeah.
Actually, can you call the TRA team, the one with the Axios, since they already have the code running?
Where is the TRA team? What do you mean?
Yeah. Oh. Alright.
Okay, so for the API, right, we're just going to be talking about the endpoints for each of the different systems that we've added. So we already, the TRA team already explored the Anki aspect of it, but we also have the other routes. So anyways, I'll just go through like the different routes that we have. So we have, we have the /students, which is a get method, and basically it gets all the students in the database. So our current database system it uses students, teachers, classes, lessons, subjects, timetables, and then there's also a lost and found database, a bookstore database, a library database, and I think that's it, yeah. So basically we have different routes to access each of the data. So this /students route is used to access all the student data. Then the /student photo is to access specifically the student photo of the specific individual based on the ID, that is. Then /teachers is used to get the names of the ID and the name of the teacher. Then, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Font. No, that mouse is not connected.
Yeah, let me move this here.
Okay, so to give you just an example of students, so obviously you would actually be using something like Axios or Flask, Python Flask or Python request, and then so just give you a sample of the data. It will look something like that, and then you will be able to work with this in JSON, JavaScript. So we'll send you a bit of slides, just a bit of demo, as well as documentation inside one of the channels. And we're working, again, we'll send out the API endpoints that you guys can use later to your individual team channels.
Okay, so other than the students and the teachers, we also have other databases. So basically teachers, teacher photo. Then we have classes where you get like all the fields. So class ID, class name, which is just like a small version of what their name is, I guess. Then like 101, 301, something like that. Then the grade, so like year 7, which is like Sec 1, or year 11, which is JC1, stuff like that. It's based on the K-12 system. Then lastly, there's form teacher ID. So you can also access the teachers' names and everything from the teachers' database. So that's made for you. Then timetables, lost and found, there's like specific columns which you can explore. Most of these are get requests actually, so that may be good. You can get the images, there's bookings, there's libraries.
Okay, so basically most of them, like you said, are get requests. There are a few exceptions, for example, to borrow and return. Those are for library operations. So there is an endpoint which is /library books, which returns basically a dictionary of library books. So there's book ID. What you need to know is that there's book ID. So borrow and return are post requests. So if you want to borrow a book or return a book, you need to send it as a post request, and in the headers you need to include data. So if you want to borrow, you include book ID in the header, and you also need to include a borrower ID, which is a student ID. And for return, you only need to include a book ID inside the header. Yep.
So yeah. So yeah, basically for the hackathon you will have to use this API in some capacity. So most of the functions are working except one, which we are currently fixing. So hopefully by the time, by at least like I guess 23:59 today, we'll be able to submit some kind of like presentation for you to for like a guide on how to use the API. So basically after that you can work with the API howsoever you want. You can create whatever you want based on whatever your brainstorming idea was. Yeah, basically, I guess. What else do we need to tell them?
That's it.
Okay, so I'll hand over to the MC.
I'm the MC.
Yeah, I know. I'll hand over to Riyang, it's fine.
Right, so actually now's the time for you all to, we will bring you back up to, for you to work on your project. So maybe just one last quick briefing first before we disseminate your. So you might assume the following message in some sort of capacity or another. You'll see this following message in Discord also in the announcements. I think you have been tagged already. But basically, let me just run through a quick timeline of what you have to submit over the next few days, okay? So by tonight, later we'll send you a form, right? We'll send you two forms, right? One of them is the feedback form, which we got us, like which we'll do like after every day, right? And the other one is the deliverable form. Again, not technically super compulsory. It's not, but like it will be good, so that you can get some comments, things like that, about your time up. Yeah. So what you're supposed to be submitting today is your Figma, link your Figma Playback. Right. Make sure that just try the link in like private browser first before you submit. I think a couple of you submitted links yesterday when you submitted links that that were restricted. That means like it wasn't set to like everyone with the link can view. So we actually couldn't comment on those. And if you missed out on your group for commenting, maybe tag us again or ping me again. Like email5198 on Discord, and we'll give you the comments. Yeah. So yeah. By today, try to submit your Figma, right? And then we'll try to give you some comments in I guess over Discord this time because it's kind of hard to give comments on Figma. I mean, you could, but we'll give you some comments on your design, and then after that, what we will need you to do, right, for the actual hackathon in terms of your deliverables, okay, is tomorrow, by 12:30, we would like you to give a short pitch about, it's basically stuff that you've already done in your prototyping journal. It's like, what is your solution? Why did you choose to do this? Who will this help? And also like give us like a quick run through of your prototype, right? Or your Figma design. Doesn't that, if you started on your code and you want to show that, also good, also fine. But we are looking at like a 2 to 3 minute pitch video. To kind of like tell us more about your app idea, right? One thing to note is, although we say 2 to 3 minutes, we are not going to enforce like hard limit. But of course, don't try and drag on and like give us a 1 hour lecture now. We of course. There is a hidden hard limit somewhere now. Okay, like if it's too long, we will just say we are going to watch the first like I don't know how many minutes and then move on. Right? It's just not going to be too fair to other teams. So there's that. And then we will give you some more extra time if for you to finish up your code. And deadline for that code submission will be this Sunday. So yeah, if you know by tomorrow, I mean I think most of you all haven't really started on code, so it's kind of like I have to listen to SQL or something tomorrow, right? So if you choose to skip the Figma step against all advice, then you can also just jump straight to coding. If not, let us know if you want. If not, submit your Figma prototype, which we will send it out later before we dismiss you. And then we will try and give you feedback. Okay. Yeah. So there's that. So yeah, that was the message I sent earlier. Other than that, I guess we will bring you guys back into your rooms. So for people who are online, I guess you will feedback into this one. And for people who are here, we will dismiss you by room. So for those who are in
SR5 零送 SR2 me.
Yeah, okay, so for those who were in SR2 earlier, can I get you guys to go over to Ling Song, who's standing up there? Maybe Ling Song, can you raise your hand? Sorry, SR5? Oh, yeah, sorry. For those who were at SR5 earlier, or those who recognize that the guy who's raising his hands right now, Ling Song, right? Can you all go over to him? And then for those who were in SR2 earlier, the slightly bigger room that's the room that was with the basic web demo shop, yeah. Then you go head over to Yiting, who is on the side. Ling Song, can you use that door? Yeah. So once again, SR5 that door, SR2 that door. Yeah. And then those who are not interested in the player, yeah. Oh yeah, please bring everything with you because you'll be dismissed from the rooms themselves. Yeah, so please back up if you have moved to the different room. If not, you can stay here and continue your discussions with your group. If you have anything to ask, feel free to ask the organizers, or if you're online, feel free to ping us. Yeah. Please make sure you don't leave anything here because we won't be coming back here tomorrow. So just maybe double check and make sure you left nothing behind. Yeah, if not, we also can't really help. And yeah.
Thanks for watching the video. To watch more, do click on the playlist linked in the description or check out our channel for more videos like these. And if you liked, do consider subscribing to our channel. It really means a lot to us. Thank you and have a pleasant day.